Both Friday and Saturday, central and northern parts of the state are under a winter storm advisory due to the incoming snow, sleet, and freezing rain. The advance notice of this incoming storm has allowed for more preparation to the roads throughout the state, and in many cases, school systems have already canceled classes for Friday to avoid travel for their teachers, staff, and students. Potential snow accumulation along the Alabama-Tennessee line is predicted to be around 2 to 3 inches. Birmingham to Anniston could see the white stuff come down as well, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. Saturday temperatures will be in the upper 20s and low 30s, with only Sunday breaking free of those low temps, going into the high 40s. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Where I was living was not a great place to live anymore. I began to pray for a place to go, praying for all of these things that a 9-year-old would want. I wanted horses, big house with a bunch of people my age. I wanted parents. I wanted a mom and a dad. Before I even prayed it, the Lord had already answered my prayer with the Big Oak Ranch. Who would that 9-year-old be if she never came to the Big Oak Ranch? I would be trying to fight for survival instead of fighting to break a cycle.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
Authorities have arrested a man in Mississippi for a Christmas Day fatal shooting that occurred in Huntsville. 35-year-old Marion Mercer was apprehended by the Gulf Coast Regional Fugitive Task Force. He's being charged for the shooting death of 37-year-old Leah Jones. The public, as well as security cameras, were able to assist police in identifying the man who left that scene. Dothan police are now searching for a dark Chevrolet SUV and have released a photo of that vehicle to the public. 79-year-old Marcus Gaddis was struck and killed alongside a busy road in Dothan earlier this week. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the healthcare of the people of the River region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hi, I'm Brian McMahon with Turf Stalkers. Within a few months of advertising with Blue Water, our customer base doubled. If you're looking for similar results, we highly recommend advertising with Blue Water.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program here on it's all right here in Montgomery on a Thursday. I'm your host, Joey Clark. In the studio with me at the moment, we have Byron Sheehy. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well, Joey. What's up, my man?
Oh, just trying to catch up to the news today. I am feeling a little tired today, a little run down. It happens every week. TS always says that I get cranky the most on Thursdays. And I think that wise woman is onto something.
Do I need to get you a Snickers bar? You hangry or?
No, I think it's just the wear and tear of consuming the news cycle. Though this one is one of the most bizarre and the most heartbreaking. Just look at that right now on the TV. The complete destruction, burning through a huge chunk of Los Angeles.
I read earlier that
Over 2,000 structures destroyed.
water not coming out of the
Fire agents, yeah.
I mean, good Lord.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. And in fact, let's begin this way, because it's sort of everybody jumping in with their opinion and what's exactly happening here. What's the cause of this? Is it people weren't serious enough about climate change? Did you not manage the forest floor well enough, or water management over decades well enough? Is it Gavin Newsom's fault, or Gavin Newscum, as I call him? Is it his fault, or is it Joe Biden's fault, or whose fault is it?
I mean, that's damn near a desert, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just guessing putting 7 million people in a place that has sparse resources might not be a good idea.
Oh, yeah, and especially when you aren't, because Trump has been talking about this for years now, about California, how their water management policies.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of folks locally have been worried about that. And in particular, one is a guy named Rick Caruso. He ran for mayor of Los Angeles. And this moment, I played some of what he had to say yesterday, but this moment happened on local news, Fox 11 out there. And the anchor tries to fact check Rick Caruso, saying, well, the fire department hasn't told us that they're out of water. And then they cut, now let's go live to the scene to another reporter. And the reporter is pretty much like, yeah, the fire department says they don't have any water to deal with this here in the Palisades. So just the moment is just, it's awful. It is a little comical. But the whole backdrop of this, yeah, look at that. When I'm looking at drone shots of the Palisades, that is just, it looks like the apocalypse.
I've read earlier 0% containment. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, but here's that moment on local news out there in California.
Former LA mayoral candidate and real estate developer Rick Caruso criticizing the city's response to the windstorm and fires. He says officials should have been more prepared.
Yeah.
The real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spreads so quickly. And the second is, you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
Now here comes the classic anchor, news anchor fact check.
Despite what you have heard from Caruso, no firefighters have told us that they are running out of water.
And let's go out to Gigi Graciette. She is live in Pacific Palisades. I know your signal's not the best, but Gigi, what can you tell us?
Well, firefighters have told me they have no water on this block, and you may be able to make out the ember storm that we're in the middle of right now. This house going to be a total loss. They have no water to put on this fire. They are standing by because they're trying to save the home that is next to it.
And in some ways, I've heard Adam Carolla went on a huge rant that was pretty epic and I think insightful about what might happen next. But one thing in particular he said is, I mean, you did vote for all these local officials.
Mm-hmm.
You voted for this stuff. And my working theory is that really is one of the most naturally beautiful places on Earth. And the weather is almost perfect, if not perfect most of the time. And folks go, oh, yeah, I mean, earthquake could happen. What is it? The San Andreas Fault. It could be the big one. Who knows? We could tumble into the sea. And these fires have been raging for a while. I remember one about a year or two ago where it was pretty bad. And I think during the COVID era, they had some that broke out. But it's not like, well, our house wasn't hit. And it's a beautiful place most of the year. And I think folks have been sort of lulled into a false sense of security, not only by the beautiful climate of that area, but also by the immense wealth that government has, being able to leech off of the innovations in California and the legacy of wealth built up there in California. As we've been saying all this week, it used to be, so goes California, so goes the United States. California is the future of where the rest of the country will go. It used to be, I think, that the culture that was coming out of Hollywood and television in general dominated the mindset of most Americans, if not the world. And I think a lot of that is changing, slowly but surely. Number one, you can already see, and it's been happening for years now, the cultural shift, where entertainment's changing, the way people actually get their information is changing deeply, and it's moving away from that part of the world. But when you have all this wealth, I think what happens is you end up, it's like, and I was mentioning this yesterday as well, like the curse of winning the lottery. Like you think, oh, I just won the lottery. I just won millions and millions and millions of dollars. I got it made. But how many of those folks like end up in misery after winning all that money?
Zero.
Like there's a lot of, I think, suicides. I think there's a lot of family problems. Yeah, it's the deal is like money doesn't solve your problem, especially if you do not know how to manage it or create it.
Right.
And so everybody would like more money, especially for basic needs. Don't get me wrong. But there's a curse that can come with having too much money and not knowing what to do with it and not knowing how to manage it.
Well, give it away.
And this is exactly what the state of California has been doing. It's like, well, we'll just give it away we'll do this big project and that big project. And well, we haven't finished the project. It hasn't actually accomplished its goals. But let's keep throwing money into it.
I didn't mean in that sense. I was talking more like...
Oh, you want some money.
Like a philanthropic. Like if
okay.
Yeah, you don't know what to do with it, give it to...
yeah, give it to me. I know.
Give it to some needy organizations. But going back to the comment the guy made, I think he said for 3 decades they've had the opportunity to remove some of the sage and underbrush. To me, this screams kind of similar to what New Orleans experienced with the levees. You know, for years, decades.
Yes.
The Corps of Engineers told them this isn't going to work. And they just push your luck. You know, we survived. As you pointed out, California, LA's had fires like this before in the past.
Yep.
And it's when you can't control Mother Nature that she shows you what she can really do. And at that point, it's too late.
Yeah, there's a clip of Rogan. He's cursing in it, so I'm not going to play it. But there's a clip of Rogan making the rounds from July of 2024. And he's talking about knowing, because he lived there for a long time, firefighters in the area. And the firefighters kept saying, we're just getting lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the wind could blow a certain speed and strength in a certain direction, and everybody's, screwed. And that's what I'm looking at on the screen. They're still playing some of this drone footage. That's the Palisades now. I'm sure it's places you've seen in movies. It's places, maybe you know people there. I've actually got in touch with a few folks that, you know, who do all the trouble living in that area. And I don't know how you restart. Maybe if you're rich as sin, you're going to rebuild. But I think a lot of folks who maybe had been there for decades, they're not coming back.
Looks like something out of a bad movie.
And the analogy to Katrina, I think it's the same way, where a lot of folks just moved. They never went back to New Orleans. They went to Texas. Came down. I remember folks coming here to Alabama.
All right. So did the mayor, fly back from Ghana or wherever?
Yeah, she came back. The press conference is bad because Karen Bass, that's the mayor's name, she cut the fire department funding by $17 million just last month. The fire chief warned the mayor that budget cuts severely limited fire response. Again, there wasn't water for the fire hydrants. And I'm not thinking about the rich a-hole that's made more money than Croesus and is, some big movie star. A lot of stars' homes, they'll be fine. I'm thinking about, say, an elderly couple who's lived in California in one of those homes for 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone.
Any single mother.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 95% of the people won't be able to rebuild.
Yeah. Well, and even the folks who do have the money too, and this is a point Adam Carolla was making, is a lot of these big progressive blue voters, all this stuff, they're going to have to try to rebuild, and they're going to get a firsthand experience in how bad the state of California is at this point.
Oh, the red tape?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How much it is miserable dealing with the Coastal Commission, where it will take you forever to rebuild. Now, maybe they expedite things because it's the rich and famous, but I doubt it.
Well, maybe California doesn't have a historical preservation society like we do and kind of slow things down.
But here is Trump yesterday. He was visiting with GOP senators last night as they're trying to hash together, is it going to be one big, beautiful bill or, skinny bills? I want two skinny bills, as Lindsey Graham said it. But in the middle of, before he met with them, Trump is asked about these fires, and because he was posting all day on Twitter, on True Social, about Governor Newscum. And there are many clips, including just a couple months ago before the election, Trump in LA County saying, you have to let the water flow here. What are y'all doing? He's been saying this for years.
Has Newsom activated the Guard?
Yes. The National Guard has been activated. Thank God.
Has Biden...
And I believe the number I've seen is only 5 dead. So people have evacuated. People have gotten out. Thank God.
What about emergency funding?
I'd imagine that's coming. I don't know if I've seen anything on that just yet.
Yeah, let's pare back some of that Ukraine stuff and kick it over to California.
Well, he did just approve another $500 million security package to Ukraine today.
Yeah, I know.
But here's Trump being asked, I think this either before or after meeting with GOP senators on the Hill, about this whole situation.
On California, Mr. President, during the pandemic, you often said that you didn't believe that you should bail out blue states that you believe were being mismanaged. Given your criticism of Governor Gavin Newsom, are you willing to work with him, and do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So what's happening in California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses. That is a true tragedy. Nobody ever thought. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know. You talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you're going to lose half your tax base of California. This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water. And yet they have, the water comes from, you know where? Up north. And it comes down at levels, they get millions and millions of barrels of gallons of water that they have, and they send it out into the Pacific. For the Pacific, it's like a drop, it's nothing. But for California, it would take care of the whole state. So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job. With that being said, I got along well with him when he was governor. We worked together very well, and we would work together. I guess it looks like we're going to be the one having to rebuild it. But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem because you're talking about big, big dollars.
Oh, no kidding. I mean, what a tragedy. He's right. Now, here, shifting gears, CNN, Anderson Cooper was live on the scene. You can see burning buildings in the background. This is Gavin Newsom being asked about Trump criticizing him in particular.
We're in the public safety phase. I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this. One can't even respond to it. I mean, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to the President of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Play politics. Now, how about you be held accountable?
He will be. I mean, all this, he said, she said, this little spat or whatever, none of that's going to matter. All the voters are going to remember who fumbled here.
Yep. Well, and people are already remembering. This is Gavin Newsom. Right after Biden won the 2020 election, or got away with the 2020 election, and he was saying, yeah, now that Biden's in there, California will be so much more prepared, right?
That's what's different now is we are committed as a team, as a partnership with the legislature and other state agencies, including now the federal government, no longer a sparring partner, but a working partner. Federal government, where we're not addressing headwinds, but tailwinds in terms of the support, a memorandum of understanding, doubling our respective commitments to vegetation management, and describe burns to support the Biden administration with resources, not just rhetoric, to help this collective cause. It's a different paradigm. It's a different framework. That's what
all the promises they make. All the promises they make.
All right. So I just found this. You know where the money was diverted to that they took from fire departments? To help homeless people. Now, here's the kicker. The majority of that money was never spent.
Wow. Good job, guys.
These people in power have got to stop playing God with tax dollars that, you know, if you can't do the bare essentials, provide services, that is the core function of government, nothing else matters. You know, if we don't have a police department, if we don't have fire and rescue, if we don't have, you know, adequate roads to get to hospitals, then we're screwed.
Yeah. Well, and again, folks feel, oh, who could have predicted this? All sorts of people. All sorts of people could have predicted this crap. And many did. Many said, you're not working hard enough on this. And you just hear them like, well, we have a memorandum of understanding to do more of this cleanup of the forest. And yet, well, why didn't you do it? Okay, I saw Mark Norman, comedy, put out there, well, it looks like Xi Jinping needs a visit for Newsom to take this seriously.
How many studies do you think they conducted to see if they needed to remove this?
Right.
How many people got paid off to know or to show what they've already known?
It's just absolutely ridiculous.
It's sickening, man. It's more than that.
And then, of course, here's another clip of Newsom not that long ago, bragging about what they did to, you know, help save native tribes. Wanted him to save a fish.
The smelt.
Yeah, this is the largest dam removal in U.S. history he's bragging about. Let's listen in.
Dam removal project in U.S. history and one of the most significant, if not the most significant, water restoration projects, bringing back salmon and steelhead into this basin. This project could not have happened without extraordinary partnerships with tribal nations and, of course, our partners in the North and Oregon. We just finished a celebration with the Secretary of the Interior and our tribal council and tribal leaders, and I couldn't be more proud as a Californian, and I couldn't be more proud as a father, because my kids and their great-great-grandkids will have the opportunity to see something that, well, has been here since time immemorial.
You know, I'd say that this is a death sentence for this guy, but I mean, after watching Tony Evers survived after Kenosha burned.
Yeah.
I mean.
No, it's just amazing that you have all that money and you can't protect your people from fire.
You have all that money, you mismanage it, and still can't provide for the basic essential services.
Yeah.
Like, where are the priorities? Yeah, it's not with the voters.
272-9228. Gavin Newsom went on to say, local folks are figuring it out. Why didn't you figure out before it happened, man? 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Newsom told Anderson Cooper, look, the local folks are trying to figure that out, where firefighters were helpless as countless homes burned. Why hydrants in Los Angeles ran dry is the question. He goes, I mean, when you have a system, but it's not dissimilar from what we've seen in other extraordinary large-scale fires, whether it be pipe electricity or whether it just be complete overwhelm of the system, Newsom rambled on. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe one fire, and you have something of this scale. But again, that's going to be determined by the local. Now, is he politicizing it and blaming Karen Bass?
Dude, I got to send this to you.
All 3 of the 1 million gallon water tanks that supply hydrants in Pacific Palisades were empty by 3 a.m. Wednesday. According to the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, fueled by Santa Ana winds, the Palisade fire and 2 other massive blazes have devoured full neighborhoods, leveling thousands of homes, businesses, and schools in their path. Both Newsom and local government officials, including Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, have been blasted for alleged mismanagement, alleged, that may have worsened the devastation. While Newsom came under fire for blocking of the water relocation order, Bass was slammed for cutting $17.5 million from the Los Angeles Fire Department's budget, and was being trashed by our own constituents for being in Ghana, 7,400 miles away when this broke out. Absolutely crazy. And you're right, you sent me an article, Byron, that she was supposed to spend this money on homelessness.
Look at the 4th paragraph. Look at the number associated with how much was being designated for homelessness, and they needed 17 million more from the fire department. I mean, somebody got paid off somewhere, man. That makes absolutely 0 sense.
Wow. $837 million.
Uh-huh.
But we got to cut from the fire department. That's absolutely crazy.
837 million, and another 17 is going to push them over the top.
Again, you got to wonder, what the heck are you doing out there? The heck are you even doing? 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. And again, I think it comes back to some of these folks have had it too good and have gotten lucky for too long where they were asleep at the wheel that something like this could occur.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, excuses will be made along the way, right? Again, that's 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Dylan Rings, and Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dylan Rings are ready to help you out as a full-service jewelry shop. They really do it all there. And of course, they have an amazing selection at Dylan Rings, but besides all their other great services, they have everyday things to rare items. And I'm looking on Facebook right now. It's a canary yellow diamond. Wow, that is gorgeous. It looks like a canary yellow diamond necklace pendant. And you can get that, or you can actually have any gem or piece of jewelry made, custom made. That's some of the best work Josh Ryder can do. His custom design work is second to none. Or, by the way, if you mention the Facebook post or you tell Josh and Leslie when you stop by Dylan Rings that Joey sent you, you can get this rare beauty, this canary yellow diamond, for 50% off. Tell them Joey sent you, and you can get this canary diamond for 50% off. The offer will expire January 20th. Get it before Trump is sworn in. Get it before somebody else gets it. There's only one at this price, but you got to tell them that Joey sent you to get that 50% off. And, of course, they're located at 119 Brown Springs Road right here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway, kind of where Taylor Road and the AUM complex is. And again, be sure to tell them that Joey sent you, especially if you want that 50% off this very rare canary yellow diamond. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi, Joey.
Hey, Paul. How are you?
I thought I was falling asleep at the wheel there for a minute, buddy.
I'm glad you woke up.
I know, right? I am, too. Now, here's a thought. Let's just say that with this fire, as large as it is, and where most of it is burning, that they don't decide to go ahead and do what happened to out there in Hawaii, and just say, nope, we're going to restrain that land, we're going to set it up for something else.
Yep.
Y'all can't have it. And I don't know, man. It's just too much nonsense going on out there. Them people has always basically been in a world of their own. And there for a while it was, as California goes, so does the rest of the states. But like I've told you, I started seeing stuff in the 70s that I totally disagreed with, and that was one of them. I was told I was crazy, I had no vision, and same thing I was seeing with the jobs leaving our local area. And I know that's going off in another category, but California had a chance to rescind Gavin Newsom, and what was it, 2022?
Right.
And they didn't do it.
Well, and as much as people are swift because he's the governor of the state or Mayor Bass is mayor of the city, I think this is bigger than any one man or woman. The corruption and the problems of that system. I think it is, I don't know how you even begin to change something up in that place.
Yeah, but in a situation like this, true leadership rises up.
Of course.
This is where public heroes actually do come into existence. I mean, most people aren't who they are until they're faced with an adverse situation and respond the correct way.
That's true. It's just a lot of preparation a lot of things could have prevented this from being as bad as it is. And it's, I think, the political culture out there that wastes money like crazy.
I wish I could, or I hope it's just there, but it's not.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm back to the FM, enjoying the show.
Appreciate it, Paul. Stay awake. You're on there. Who's this?
Cliff.
Hey, Cliff. How you doing?
Wonderful. Now, I'm no expert on this, but I did grow up in the New Jersey Pine Barrens.
Mm-hmm.
And what they would do is every year they would come through and cut fire breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would also come through and do a controlled burn of all the underbrush. And I don't think my whole 6 years I lived out there in the Pine Barrens, there were some fires, but they never spread to the whole Pine Barrens. And I noticed, watching the drone footage, that I did not see one fire break cut in that whole area.
Wow.
And if anybody has paid attention to what's going on out there, they do not have an underbrush policy taking care of the underbrush. And what happens if you don't take care of the underbrush, the stuff is just going to jump right along the underbrush, and there goes the trees. And once the trees start, then it jumps to the next tree, or it jumps over a road, or whatever. But if you take care of the underbrush, then it's kind of like a fire starter. If you take the fire starter out, you're able to handle the fire better. And last night I was looking at it with my wife, and I said, Kathleen, I said, look, I said, they haven't, because this isn't the first time this problem's been talked about with the clearing the underbrush. That goes back to 40, 50 years ago out there. If they'd have a fire, the Santa Ana winds would blow, and it would just spread like wildfire. And you would think, I don't know, it happened once, and it took out a whole bunch of expensive houses, or even inexpensive houses, that they'd say, oh, let's clean out the underbrush, and let's put in some fire breaks. I mean, so as far as the mountainsides look, because there's a 3/4 of a mile area that's cleared out of all brush and all trees. But when the fire comes, it doesn't jump across that, and it's common sense, okay?
Yes, sir.
That's all it is.
And it doesn't seem like it's common enough in certain parts of the world. I appreciate it, Cliff.
Yep, have a good day.
272-9228. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is the Gray Rider. How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
I guess I'm surviving. I'm still above the dirt.
That's good news.
It is. Yeah, what the guy was just saying, it's like, back before the Spanish got there, the native tribes, that's exactly what they would do. They, just like they do in Australia and a lot of other places, they would get there before the Santa Anas. They knew the seasons, and they would burn. They would back burn. They would control burn and get out all the stuff. And then when the time came, they never really had wildfire problems like that. wasn't until these environmentalists got in there and decided that you couldn't cut nothing, you couldn't burn nothing. Oh my God, you might get rid of God knows what, and quit doing it. And Santa Ana's come every year. I've been out there, and I sat there in a truck stop and watched those winds blow trucks over on their sides, just sitting there parked.
Man.
So they know they're coming every year, but they don't do anything about it. So, and they act surprised when stuff happens. So what are you going to do? They don't ever learn their lessons out there now.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully this is a huge wake-up call. I just feel for the folks who can't rebuild, who just are going to have to leave.
You would think, but I mean, this has happened before, and it's burned whole huge tracks. They've had firefighters killed trying to fight these things, but I'll lay you even money that as soon as they start talking about doing common sense stuff, they're going to have everybody filing lawsuits, and ain't nothing going to get done. So we'll see. But y'all have a great one.
You too. Now, you just sent me here. This is fire code brush clearance requirements, but it's for property owners and renters.
I'm looking at a few other things, and that's pretty much what I'm seeing across the board. It seems like the onus is being
put on like homeowners.
Yep.
Well, okay, what is that?
Here's another one. See this one too.
So yeah, it's got all these standards. Number one, I wonder how much those are actually enforced. Number two, this is not talking about the larger forest. This is just property owners. So.
I mean, this is going to sound like a joke. It's not a joke. So there was defund the police. Now we're seeing defund, the fire department. Like, where is all this money going?
It's a good question. Well, and I think what's happening is people are getting paid handsomely by the government to not do that much of a job, if the job at all. Like, I got a sweet gig. Even if I don't have the results that we promise everybody who's actually paying attention.
Right.
And I got a sweet paycheck. I'm paying the mortgage. All right, life's good. I don't know. I don't live there. In many ways, it's a foreign country to me. But it seems like a classic example of looking the other way, looking the other way, looking the other way, everybody looking out for their sort of own interests, and then all of a sudden the big one comes. And
right.
They're not ready.
Do you know of any watchdog groups, organizations that track dollars going from any sort of government to non-governmental employees?
I don't know off the top of my head, no. But it's a good question.
I'd love to see, just percentage-wise, how out of, the whole pie, how much actually gets spent where it needs to be spent versus getting kicked over to this contract or this person getting a consulting gig or, we're going to have this study. Like, it's appalling, man.
Well, we need to hit a break. We'll be right back, folks. More news and views in the afternoon after that.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Rich Thomas weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Our Arctic days and frigid nights continue as we continue to monitor that developing storm, that potential winter weather threat early on Friday. Today we're dry, good bit of sunshine, and still well below normal on the temperature, high only 48. The risk of rain and maybe some rain mixed in with a wintry mix beginning in the wee hours of Friday morning and early in the day on Friday with a low down to about 32, then becoming rain by midday Friday with a high only around 38. Ending well before midnight on Friday night, then partial sunshine, only 42 Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Honey?
Yeah?
Do you think it's safe using all these extension cords?
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Actually, too many extension cords can be dangerous. Call Crosby Electric to add new outlets.
Sure is dark in our yard.
Good, we'll sleep better.
Maybe you will.
Crosby Electric does landscaping lighting for beauty and safety, as well as security lighting for peace of mind.
Oh, darn. The vacuum cleaner just tripped a breaker.
Honey, never vacuum while I'm making popcorn.
Tripping breakers can indicate a potential fire hazard. You really should have it checked out by Crosby Electric, serving the river region for almost 50 years.
Sweetheart, are you ever afraid that lightning could damage our electrical system?
Afraid? Come on. No. Maybe we should call Crosby. Just give him a call.
Whole house surge protection can protect you and your possessions. For an assessment and for all your electrical needs, call Crosby Electric 272-2085 or visit us at crosbyelectric.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care. And that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
With winter storm weather on the way, our friends at Alabama Power are prepped and ready for the added challenges that ice, falling trees, and extreme temperatures can bring. And you can also take steps to prepare. For winter storm safety tips and how to manage cost and energy usage while staying warm, visit alabamapower.com/winter weather or alabamapower.com/winter. Alabama Power's top priority is to keep the lights on and the heat running no matter what Mother Nature sends our way. Everybody stay safe and warm out there.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Now, as all this is going on in California, of course, with Jimmy Carter's passing and the big state funeral, you had a whole front row of former and soon-to-be current presidents. You don't see it quite in this shot, but Bill Clinton, Hillary, George W. Bush and Laura Bush, Donald Trump and Melania on the other end, and then next to Donald Trump, in between Donald Trump and Laura Bush, is Barack Obama. And a lot of folks are wondering, like, well, where's Michelle? Or as they're saying on the internet, where's Big Mike? And where's she at? And then folks are also noticing Trump and Obama talking to one another. And Obama at one point starts chuckling at something Trump had said. And you see Kamala look back, and then you see, oh, she is not happy. Yeah, that was like a grimacing sigh. She hates to see that. There's Barack and Don talking it up, yucking it up, and oh, no.
You go back. What? Look at the tongue in her mouth right when she turns. Is good that.
Yeah, like biting her tongue almost.
Yeah. That.
What could have been? That's amazing.
And Barry doesn't care what she says. Thinks.
No.
Not at all.
And everybody's wondering, what is Trump saying to Obama made him laugh? And everybody's like, was it, where is Big Mike? Sure, that gets a rise out of people. So there's all that sort of, anytime one of these big events, especially when a president dies, occurs, it's weird to see all these folks in one spot. And in fact, Glenn Greenwald, I think, shared a sentiment a lot of people are sharing right now. Former President Barack Obama casually and amiably chats with Adolf Hitler as the latter is set to assume power in 11 days, end American democracy, and impose a white nationalist dictatorship.
I'm sure that's what Barry and the president were talking about.
Right. So it's good to see them playing well together, I guess. But to be a fly on that wall in some of these private rooms, especially that club, that exclusive club of ex-presidents, you got to wonder how these guys actually talk to one another and deal with one another.
Oh, apparently Obama and W are tight.
Oh, really?
Like,
well, there is a clip, maybe I could find it. W, when he's taking his seat in the pew, just like pats Obama on the belly real quick, does the belly pat real quick. Like, hey, what's up, boy? How you doing, son?
They've requested to travel together if they're going to, like a common event. Like, they love spending time with each other.
Right. Now, you do got to wonder, like, what is it behind the scenes? That is a very exclusive club that not many are in.
What did you think the first time you saw the little green men?
Right. Yeah, Trump said something to him, had Obama laughing his tail off. I don't know. That's going on. Passing of Jimmy Carter is sad, though expected. And we'll see. We'll be moving on to new political things before you know it.
I like to think they're playing What's in Kamala's Cup.
But yeah, it is amazing some of the candid shots the camera gets where she definitely, yep, she's not too happy that Barack and Donnie from Queens are chatting it up. Yeah, look at that look on her face. That's the shot right there.
All right, random question. How was seating determined?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea.
Because not too often do you see, maybe it's just that she's the current vice president. Because most of the time you don't see presidents put on the second row.
Well, we'll see where all this goes. Yeah, I think when Biden walked up, they had a very cold greeting. Kamala and Biden. Very cold greeting indeed. I don't think those two love each other. In fact, I think Barry Obama and Donnie Trump like each other more than Kamala and old Joe do at this point. Now, as all the fire is going on, just tearing through Los Angeles, as people are laying Jimmy Carter to rest, the politics is setting up and is continuing. It looks like there are two that will sail through the Senate. And I'm not shocked by this because they're creatures of Washington and they've probably been vetted and they know people. Looks like Marco Rubio and Elise Stefanik will be confirmed on day one, which Rubio has been a senator for a while. Senators are probably going to be like, yeah, we know Marco. Like, they're not going to fight him at all. There's no point of trying to fight him.
Right.
Sort of thick as thieves there in the United States Senate. And Stefanik's been in congressional House leadership for a while now. And so, yeah, I think when you know each other, you get through real quick. I think RFK Jr. is going to, it's a lot of fireworks there, potentially Tulsi Gabbard. I think Pete Hegseth gets through it, but I think there are going to be a lot of opportunists in this theatrical moment, like Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, I mean. She has 70 questions for Pete Hegseth, very pressing questions, especially about his tattoos. Is that how it's said? Tattoos?
Tattoo?
Yeah, I thought it said tattoo. Like
the plane?
Yeah, like the Christian tattoos. Yeah, is that tattoos? Yes. Oh. Yeah, and it's going to be a circus.
I think Head says probably got the toughest road in front of him.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe shades of Kavanaugh on that one.
Quick break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hi there. I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, you will immediately see the difference in pricing. Not only do we offer the most competitive rates, but our closing costs rank among the lowest in the industry. How do we do it? Because we can. We do not have the overhead that big banks and lenders do. Those big banks and lenders have big expenses. And what do? They pass those expenses along to you. Meanwhile, here at Alabama Home Mortgage, we receive wholesale rates which result in big savings that we pass along to you. Don't pay more for less. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our rates and pricing are just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey guys, this is Todd Clark with River Region Contracting, your premier roofing contractor in Central Alabama. So remember the name, River Region Contracting, for all your roofing needs. We're not affiliated with any other roofing company in the River Region. We've been in the roofing business since 2005. We don't have to buy our leads, and we don't have to knock on doors when the storms come around. We have thousands of satisfied customers throughout Central Alabama. So call us at 334-356-8635. That's 334-356-8635.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACB.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Let's go to Jim. Hey, Jim, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm just enjoying this beautiful weather. A little levity.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up this morning to the knowledge that, wow, my provider, their internet was out.
Oh, no.
So no TV, no internet, no computer. Well, here, I get a text message from them. There's an outage in your area. See info at this site.
Right on it, well.
What? And then I get a message. We will call you. If you'll leave your number, we will call you when it's back on. If it's not in our business hours, we'll call you the next day. What? Do these people even pay attention to what they're doing or saying, or is this some kind of...
Just following process, man. So I guess they were counting on you having cellular signal to go to that website.
Yeah, well, I'll have to. I have my phone. I've got a crappy Android phone, and now I found out that my auto Android ain't worth a crap, and it's all screwed up. I gotta buy a new phone now because you can't use this Android, whatever it is, auto Android or whatever. It doesn't work anymore on my phone, so I can't. But anyways, it's just, wow. It's, I don't really have any complaints about them, but good grief. It's been out now since early this morning, and it's still not back.
No, I've had moments with that with an internet service provider where it's just like, wait, it's going to take you how many days? And I have to sit here and wait at home for a 3-hour window for y'all to come and fix this crap. And, did they give you a reason, like where it was a line cut?
It's a whole area.
Okay.
It
might be a hub.
Area it is.
Yeah, that happened to us not too long ago. It might be a hub went down.
Yeah, it's probably an AT&T guy came by and clipped the wire. But I can't. I'm fixing to go to another location, or maybe I can pick it up on my phone. I'll have to get on my phone there and adjust the where I can pick up. I think I've got it now where I can only get Wi-Fi at my house. So whatever that setting is, you got to go in there and take it off, and where you can pick it up. I'm gonna try it in the Walmart. See if I can find out when it's going to be back on. But I'll tell you what, when you ain't got your internet, man, and I couldn't even watch Barney Fife this morning. I mean, how disgusting.
I know.
Anyway,
and hopefully it comes back before Gunsmoke comes on.
Yes, and one more question. Will Pocahontas be wearing her war paint when she goes into this area?
Oh, you know it.
No, she'll just be rocking those high cheekbones like her papa had.
Can't
That's how she knew she was Native American.
Got to put that rouge on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully she stays away from the firewater. Okay, well, y'all have a good afternoon, and
Appreciate it, Jim.
4 more years, thank God. All right, see ya.
272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. We've got a guy. I don't think he knows us. We're a guy named Gary Kotowski, one of those Polish guys.
Okay.
He goes, "Okay, is this serious? Trump dies nothing but blame. Does nothing but blame. Newscum, which I don't like, was barely able to rally. He was covered in blood. He's been doing this. I don't even think that's a real person."
I think the point was if Newsom would have been doing his job past few years, that maybe he wouldn't be covered in smoke right now.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Maybe if the mayor didn't...
Yeah, too many typos, Gary. Sorry.
didn't divert millions of dollars to projects that weren't even using it, the police department would be funded.
Yeah, anyway, if you want us to respond to your comments, folks, online, make them clear and readable. But thanks for watching, Gary. Coming up, we have how Doge could actually cut $1 trillion in federal spending, as well as some Alabama stories. Tuberville saying, never say never. He's out there just saying, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about running for governor. I don't know if I will, but who knows? Making that public's a pretty big deal. That should shake things up.
Man, if he throws his hat in, clears the field.
And I believe Erica Thomas will be calling us from 1819 News at 1:30. So be checking in probably on some of what's, oh no, I just got a message that, well, we'll do it another day, Erica. We'll do it another day. There's plenty we can cover in the meantime. We'll be right back, folks. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin used their final meeting in Germany to press the incoming Trump administration to not give up on Kyiv's fight. They warned that to cease military support now would only invite more aggression, chaos, and war. A strong earthquake in El Salvador's capital. No immediate report of damage or deaths. Britain's top diplomat says Europe's security is on a knife edge, and President-elect Trump is right to say NATO member nations must increase military spending. Mr. Trump said NATO countries should spend at least 5% on their GDPs on defense. That would be up from the current 2%. This is SRN News.
Making America great again starts with making America healthy again. Charlie Kirk here. I lost 40 pounds with the PhD weight loss and nutrition program. And 2 years later, I haven't gained a pound back. I started the PhD weight loss program because I need to be healthy to keep up with my crazy schedule. Most people start a weight loss program to get healthier. So why is Big Pharma spending millions to convince you to use their weight loss injections that do just the opposite? They have harmful side effects and lifelong dependency. Take a natural approach that isn't connected to a Big Pharma bottom line. PhD changes the way you think about food. They custom design a plan that is simple and works with your schedule. You'll learn to quiet cravings and finally release the unhealthy belly fat. You won't be hungry and you'll never take medication. Call 864-644-1900 to schedule your one-on-one consultation or visit myphdweightloss.com. That is myphdweightloss.com, 864-644-1900.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of H&H Carpets in stock specials on waterproof luxury vinyl plank and engineered hardwood flooring at blowout sale prices. H&H Carpet across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Our Arctic days and frigid nights continue as we continue to monitor that developing storm, that potential winter weather threat early on Friday. Today we're dry, good bit of sunshine, and still well below normal on the temperature, high only 48. The risk of rain and maybe some rain mixed in with a wintry mix beginning in the wee hours of Friday morning and early in the day on Friday with a low down to about 32, then becoming rain by midday Friday with a high only around 38. Ending well before midnight on Friday night, then partial sunshine, only 42 Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Montgomery police are investigating the city's second homicide of 2025. Police responded to Longleaf Pine Drive just off Troy Highway early Wednesday morning, where 42-year-old Rosny Mejia Magan was found dead from a gunshot wound. Suspect and motive unknown. The Elmore County middle school student who collapsed on Tuesday is showing signs of improvement. The 7th grader at Redland Middle School was non-responsive after PE on Tuesday and flown to Children's Hospital in Birmingham for treatment. The student's condition has taken a positive turn and he is now responding to commands. The Montgomery Career Center will host a job fair tomorrow on January 10th. Employers attending include Hyundai, Baptist Hospital, Gulf Allstate Beverage, Steris, Renaissance Montgomery, and the Lear Corporation. The event is free and open to the public. The job fair will be held at 1060 East South Boulevard from 9 to 2 p.m. tomorrow. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Looking to sell or maybe for your dream home or the perfect piece of land? I'm Hannah Grantham.
And I'm Eddie Bader. Together, we're your go-to real estate team at Forest Meadows Homes and Land.
Whether you're buying, selling, or looking to invest, we know the Central Alabama market inside and out.
From cozy homes to sprawling estates, we make finding the right property easy and stress-free.
With us, you're not just a client, you're a partner. We're here for all your real estate needs.
Let us show you that not all agents are the same, and let's make your real estate dreams a reality. Call us today, 334-322-0662.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
I got hairy legs.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the Afternoon, or as we're calling this thing online, Joey Clark Live. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Byron Sheehy here in the studio with me. So let's go into some Alabama stuff real quick, Byron.
Let's do it.
Craig Monger, who will be joining the show tomorrow, always love seeing Craig on a Friday, he wrote this up. You never say never on anything. That is a quote from Coach, United States Senator Tommy Tuberville. Doesn't rule out possible run for governor. Now, this has been whispered about, talked about through the grapevine for a while. You and I have been going, wait, so-and-so says this. Like, it's a big part of the conversation going on right now in Alabama politics. What is Coach going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, that's to his credit. Everybody's kind of wondering, what's he going to do? That leaves him holding a lot of cards.
All the cards.
So on Wednesday, yesterday, Coach Tuberville said while he looks forward to working with the incoming Trump administration and a GOP-led Senate, he is not ruling out a run for Alabama's governor in 2026. As the smoke clears from the November presidential election, many Alabamians are turning their attention to state elections and who will succeed Governor Kay Ivey should she finish out her term. While some state figures, such as Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth, are all but assured of vying for the office, other names have been circled as possible candidates, such as Agricultural Commissioner Rick Pate, former Secretary of State John Merrill, former Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs Director Kent Davis, and Tuberville. Tuberville's status as a sitting U.S. Senator and a former football coach for Auburn gives him a significant advantage in pursuing a statewide seat. And in fact, as much as Tuberville could have been criticized, he's been criticized so much now, it sort of has a dulling effect, I think, on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you going to hit him with now? Like, you've hit him with so much. And this is kind of the beauty of politics. Once you've, unless it's some, bad skeleton in your closet, if you've been in the public eye for a while, you're probably golden, unless you maybe run for president, and then certain things, like Ted Kennedy, certain things will come out if you go for the highest office. But it's not usually the other way around, though who knows in this state. Maybe the dirty pool will be played, but I think Tuberville not only would be golden from, say, scandal-free, he's already been vetted and been in the public eye and got all the criticism. He's also, I think, been kind of deemed a bit of a folk hero for populist conservatives here in the state, for the stands he's made up in D.C. So that's going to be hard to beat. Who knows? Anything can happen in this crazy state, especially if we actually have an open primary. And even though I predicted 2 years ago Kay Ivey would not make it through a full term, I would be happy to see Governor Ivey, make it to that full term so we actually have an open primary.
Right.
As opposed to, say, Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth being Governor Ainsworth and inheriting the seat just like Governor Ivey did. I don't think that's good for the state.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Why now? Why would she resign now?
Oh, no, I think it could be a health thing could flare up.
Well,
I don't have any inside info. I'm not accusing anybody
Right,
anything.
that-
This has been the constant wonder about
Right. So
Governor Ivey.
To that point, this has been the wonder or the talk or the chatter around the water cooler for some time now, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Why now? Why not a year ago? 2 years ago?
Well, I do wonder, does it hinge on what happens in this early session?
Well, if it's on her health, does that matter?
It's a good question. Well, and then there's a lot of conversations behind the scenes, too.
If they say tomorrow that her health prohibits her from carrying out her duties, I think a legitimate question has to be asked, well, how long have we known this?
Right. It's the same thing with Biden.
Exactly.
Same exact thing.
Exact same.
So we'll see. But here's what Tuberville said in full about running for governor. He said, well, one thing I want to say, and as I've told people, I want to do what's best for the people of Alabama and this country. I can't say that I've enjoyed it up here, talking about Washington, D.C., but I'm glad I've been in D.C. for the last 4 years. I'm looking forward to the next 2 years. You never say never on anything, okay? Because things change. But, yeah, no kidding, Coach. But I'm fixing to put my heart and soul into the next 2 years of getting this country back for the people of Alabama and the people of the United States of America. My dad lost his life in the military. He gave his life for this country, as millions of other people have done. This is just a small part of trying to give back to the greatest country ever that's given me a whole lot. So I'm going to work very hard doing my job here in the United States Senate, he continued. I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I'm here. I've learned so much from other people here that are a lot like me, that just want our country to be great and safe again. We'll talk about all that other stuff down the road, but I'm just looking forward to President Trump getting inaugurated next week. So I'm glad he finally gave a public quote, because this has been water cooler talk for several months now. We'll see, because there was always a question of, would he take a cabinet position? That was circling for a while in the Trump administration. So I wonder, 272-9228, let's say Senator Tuberville, completely hypothetical, folks. Who knows? Let's say Senator Tuberville runs to be Governor Tuberville. Would y'all like that? 272-9228. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
That would be James.
Hey, James.
Coach Governor Tuberville. Or would that be Governor Coach Tuberville?
Whatever day. Yeah, you can do it however you like.
Joey, I'm not sure if anybody has called on this one. This is minor in the scheme of things. My understanding is that the fiber optics, whatever it's called, for a while, was intentionally vandalized.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what I have, and of course they are steadfastly working as we speak to correct that as soon as possible.
Well, if it was intentionally vandalized, I hope they get who did it.
That's that's probably going to be a more difficult thing to do. I mean, I asked the question that would pop up in everybody's mind: was it done, by accident by somebody with a backhoe trying to fix something else? And the answer was no. That what they had, that it was purposefully vandalized.
Well, that's no fun. We had it in my area here in Montgomery. Wow, had a hub go down, so we were without internet for a few days. No fun.
I got you. Well, I don't have it at home. I have about a rough enough time trying to sleep anyway.
It's probably wise, James. I appreciate the call, man.
Yes, man. Take
Somebody's
it easy.
going through some links to get out of doing some work, man.
Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Andy. What's up?
All right, so if Tommy Tuberville ran for governor, what about his Senate seat? Because that would be up in 2 years also, though.
Right. That'd be a great question. Who would run for United States Senate? Now, Attorney General of the great state, Steve Marshall's already ruled out he's not running for governor in 26.
Hold on. If he announces that he's running for governor, and
Who's he?
Tubbs.
Okay.
And resigns, then the governor would get an appointment.
Oh,
interesting. You're right. But what if he doesn't resign?
If he
I'm about
doesn't
to
resign,
say,
then
I wouldn't resign. I mean, because you either run for one or the other, and then you hope you win what you're running for because you're going to lose the other one. If it's not like if the governor's race was this past time, then he would have never lost the Senate seat if he didn't win governor.
he's not going to lose. Whatever office he qualifies for, the man's winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if he jumps out of the Senate, for instance, I don't think Steve Marshall, for instance, career ends here in Alabama. I think he ends up a federal judge or maybe runs for Senate. And if Tuberville gets into the governor's race, does somebody like John Merrill, former Secretary of State, run for Senate like he tried last time?
I have if Coach ran for Gov, then I think all these names that are floating around as possibilities of running for governor probably really look at Senate. I mean, that makes the most sense.
Right. There's going to be there's so much wheeling and dealing. It's probably going to happen behind the scenes. Oh,
he's driving the train, man. We're all on the platform waiting to see which way he's going.
And he's got the Trump endorsement, man. We'll see, Andy. I don't know. It'll be. Would you like him as governor?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's doing a good job as a senator. I mean, maybe consider being a senator for another 6 years.
I just want to ask, if he's going to bring the wrecking ball down here, I'll go to D.C. and drive him down. He won't have to move a box. I'll carry everything.
Well, I appreciate the call, man.
Yep.
Let's go to line 4. You're on there. Who's this?
Richard.
Hey, Richard.
Let me do my speaker from you. Sorry. As far as Senator Tuberville becoming governor of Alabama, I would much rather see him stay as senator.
Why would you prefer him to stay in the Senate?
Because I think he's doing a damn great job.
Oh, there you go. And I don't know. We'll see if he gets a taste of being in the majority in the Senate and has a different experience up there, too.
We'll hang in there and get more and more seniority. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I don't think he's worried about the seniority aspect. I think he just wants to be a part of that Trump Make America Great Again wave and actually solve some problems. I mean, to me, him being up there under the Dems and now all the fun stuff's about to happen. I mean, that's kind of the equivalent to getting to a party early and right when everything gets kicked off, be like, okay, it's time for me to go home.
No, and that Richard makes a good point in the sense that he's doing a good job as is. People like him. He could probably win re-election and be in the Senate for the rest of his life unless something crazy happens. Why not keep that gig? And it would be odd on the stupid front. It would be odd if Tuberville does get out of the Senate to be calling a 40-something-year-old our senior senator.
She's climbing the ranks.
Yeah, named deputy whip. Senator Britt was named deputy whip under Barrasso, which is it's pretty good deal right there.
Can't hide talent, man.
And she she stayed on all the committees that she's been on, I think, like appropriations on Homeland Security and banking, and I'm forgetting another one, might be ag, but she's jumped on judiciary, which is a pretty prime spot. That's where a lot of the action is in terms of the political theater. We're going to see a lot of that.
You lost me on appropriations, man. Or you had me at appropriations.
You had?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think she's leaving appropriations. Appropes is like one of the, what's Rules Committee and Appropriations? Those two are, yeah, that's high cotton right there. 272-9228. So I don't know. Tuberville, the big takeaway for me is he's holding all the cards. And he's sort of just letting folks speculate. And whatever he decides, I think other people will move and make their own decisions. And that's a good place to be in politics.
Who do you think would be the front runner if he did run for governor, running for Senate?
I don't know. It depends on who jumps in. Again, I like Steve Marshall.
How old are Steve's kids?
I don't know.
Right. How old's Lieutenant Governor's kids?
Young.
Like elementary, middle, high?
All I know about Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth's kids are the dove hunt photos he puts out on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, and they look like some grade school, some just hitting adolescence.
Gotcha.
Young still.
Moving to D.C. takes the whole family.
See, and I don't think Ainsworth wants D.C. I tend to believe him when he says his ambition and aspiration rises to the governor's chair, and that's it.
And you may dismiss this, but on the move to D.C., it's often as much as what the wife wants as much as the candidate.
Well, and for instance, there's a lot of talk of John Merrill. He's still putting out a newsletter. And if folks genuinely believe that he's repentant for what knocked him out of running for politics when he was running for Senate.
That bad haircut?
No, it wasn't that.
Oh.
That's something that I won't even bring it up.
Okay.
I mean, it was kind of... Anyway.
It's well documented.
And folks are like, he can keep his pants on. And like, I will say Merrill is like one of the gift of gab. Like, he'll answer almost every freaking question, even if it's a straightforward policy question, with some anecdotal story that still makes the point. Like, the guy does it
make the point?
I think he's got talent, and just a retail politics sort of way. I think he does have talent, but we'll see if the people of Alabama want to forget
Can they
indiscretions. Yeah. Well, who knows? So he could run for Senate again. Maybe does Lindy Blanchard jump into something?
I still think there's, someone whose name hasn't even been mentioned
Does
at all.
Tim James run for Senate?
No, I can tell you that, no. I can tell you Tim James is not running for office.
He's done with it. I like Tim. But...
I love Tim. I love Miss Angela.
Yeah.
And I think Tim loves Miss Angela, and staying married to her is got a lot to do with it.
I'm trying to just pull other names. Rick Pate, all these folks who were in the governor's conversation, did they try to run for Senate?
They have to go somewhere, man.
Yeah. Because Rick Pate's also very talented politician, just a good dude.
You can only create so many nonprofits and name them as ED. There's only so much of
Does
that.
Twinkle run for Senate? Who knows?
I mean, she'll have the money if she wants to.
Yeah. So it's kind of, you just pick from all the statewide names that already hold statewide office, and maybe they do run for something like that. But again, with an open primary in the state, who knows? Especially if it's a competitive open primary, like you have 3-4 people that could possibly actually get the job, whether it's governor or Senate. You don't really know who's actually going to come out on top. Like, nobody suspected Robert Bentley would win.
Well, when was play this game the other day? When was the last time the presumed front runner actually got the nomination? We were more of a two-party state.
I don't know. What wouldn't you say?
Riley,
interesting.
against Superman.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's because all the Republicans had to coalesce around it.
Yep.
But now, since we got this or supermajority, and Tom, Dick, Harry, his cousin, his dog, and everyone else can crawl under the Republican tent.
Yeah.
We got our work cut out for us, voters.
Yeah, maybe somebody shows up too we haven't been thinking about for a while.
That's where I think it'll be.
272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Hey, this part of the program brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. And they're at Cole Plumbing. James and the team are ready to help you with any and all of your plumbing needs. It could be you have a basic problem like a clogged drain or low water pressure. It's just that, as Trump was saying the other day in your shower, it's just drip, drip, drip. You can't get clean that way. Cole Plumbing can help you with that. Could be you flush the toilet and something comes up through the shower drain. Uh-oh. Cold Plumbing can help you with that. Maybe you have a massive leak inside or outside your home. Cold Plumbing can not only take care of that, they can do it without making a huge mess, tearing out a bunch of drywall in your house or digging up a huge hole in the yard. No, with precision expertise, they can solve that issue for you, and they can also help you upgrade to, say, a tankless water heater system, or maybe you want to add new accessories to the shower, to the bathroom in general, or to the kitchen. They can help you install anything like that. So you have to check out Cold Plumbing today. You can always go to coldplumbing.com to make an appointment, or just call them up at 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl,
call on Cole.
Now, another Alabama story. This is about the speculation. Well, I'll just read the headline. A little bit offensive. State Board of Veterans Affairs members oppose likely Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs overhaul legislation. The State Board of Veterans Affairs spoke out at a Wednesday meeting against possible legislation in the 2025 session that would change the way Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs is governed. The SBVA oversees the operations of the ADVA, a state agency separate from the federal U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The SBVA's members are nominees from various veterans groups across the state. The governor, who is also a member of the board, appoints board members based on those groups' nominations. Governor Kay Ivey unilaterally fired ADVA Commissioner Kent Davis last year over the objections of SBVA members. Davis and his attorney have said they plan to file a lawsuit based on anti-retaliation provisions of the Alabama Ethics Act and contesting Ivey's alleged supreme executive power to fire him. Casey Rogers, Ivey's external affairs director, said at an SBVA meeting on Wednesday that the board will probably be changed. Here's the quote. As far as a potential board ADVA changes go, we've heard a lot of the same that you guys have seen in the media. I haven't seen an official piece of legislation. I do think there will be kind of watch out to see when it will drop. I do not think it's a secret that change will probably be made, said Casey Rogers. Most media reports about the legislation mention moving the ADVA commissioner role to a governor's cabinet position, which would allow the governor to hire and fire for the role. Wait, but she can already hire and fire, right? That's what the whole episode of Kent Davis told us. She can hire and fire whoever she wants as the supreme executive leader here in the state.
Well, when you make up stuff like that, I guess you can, but the legalities.
No, but why do you need the power to hire and fire if you can already hire and fire?
Well, good question. Can you? Can you really do that if now you had to pass legislation that grants the authority to do that?
Reports have also mentioned taking away the board's authority to make policy decisions where members would have advisory roles. Tony Baronotto, chair of the SBVA's legislative committee, said at the meeting that he was surprised no one on the board had been given details about the possible changes. Saying, I'm really surprised. I would really appreciate it if they sought some input or briefed us ahead of time. There's almost a feeling like we don't know what we're doing, or even we don't know the veteran community or something, Baronotto said. State Representative Ed Oliver and State Senator Andrew Jones discussed the legislation on Capitol Journal with Todd Stacey in December. Jones called the changes in the bill a quote-unquote positive development, saying in full, I got an update from some of the governor's staff just yesterday that they're continuing to work through the process on developing the legislation. It is my understanding that it would go through both of our respective committees. I see this really as a way to elevate the Department of Veterans Affairs, bring them fully into the fold of state government, and highlight the work this is too cute by half that's being done for veterans, and kind of make that person a member of the governor's team and the governor's cabinet. I think that's important. I think we need to make sure that veterans have a seat at the table. Everything that I've heard is all these veterans groups, the VSOs, veteran service organizations would still have a seat at the table. To me, it's a positive development because we're elevating the status of the organization, Senator Jones said.
Elevating.
Man, that is that talk about spin.
Did he say in there that he's waiting on the legislation from the governor's office?
No, it's more like they're sitting there and hashing it out.
Okay, because I've been trying to look for a pre-filed bill to see what actual changes might occur.
It doesn't sound like he's necessarily waiting on the governor, but he is working with the governor's staff. They're having conversations with the governor's staff. So I think something's been hashed out behind the scenes already. They're just waiting to put it into committee and actually introduce this thing.
I mean, from my understanding, this has been a headline for like 6 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
That Jones and Oliver, they had their bills. They were going to drop them.
Well, nobody's, I think, seen it. It's not been officially filed.
Right.
Now, Matt Gaff, a SBVA board member, said at the SBVA meeting on Wednesday, I find it a little bit offensive whenever politicians get on a TV talk show or with a reporter that have never sat in this room or even talked to anybody in this room that we maybe aren't doing the right thing. It's even more disturbing, Matt Gaff went on, when one of them is a veteran. I mean, it's not a secret when we meet and what we discuss. They can read all the minutes that they want, but I can tell you right now, I haven't had any of them reach out to me as a board member and say, hey, what do you think? What do you think? We do pretty good, I believe, with the way that we operate right now. We have states right now that their boards were removed and their veterans in the state lost benefits. North or South Carolina just lost 3 or 4 state benefits because they removed the board, Gaff said. So this, I think, is going to be a stinky fight going into the legislative session. And the fact that it hasn't been pre-filed, even though it's been talked about to death in public and I'm very much behind the scenes. What are they actually up to here?
Well, I wonder if once they make it public, then, all the disgruntled vets actually have something tangible to kind of hold in front of them and be like, what is this?
Well, and you got to wonder, is this trying to beat the clock on, because there is that threat of a lawsuit and a challenge by Kent Davis and his attorneys over his firing, saying, the retaliation stuff in Alabama ethics law. So we'll see. This is going to be one of the stinkier, messier things, I think, heading into the early legislative session this year.
Random question.
Yeah.
So the governor appointed these board members.
Yes.
And they voted to keep Davis.
Yes.
And
very much in her face said, no, we think Kent's done a great job and the Admiral's help. He's done wonderful work. Why? No, we're not. We want him to stay.
This smells, man. I mean, to me, it's 99 out of 100 questions in politics follow the money. There's something financially related here.
Something financially, and also don't underestimate. Sometimes people just don't play well together. Personalities don't play well together, and that can lead to certain things too.
Right.
And combine the two, and there you go.
People tend to be territorial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially,
so we'll see.
Especially over finite resources, maybe.
Yeah. Right. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you whether you're looking to buy or sell here in the Montgomery and surrounding areas. Bo's been working in the River Region real estate market for decades, now nearly half a century. So not only can they help you with buying and selling your property here in the River Region, Bo and his team there at the Goodson Group have management services available should you want to rent out your home, which is a great idea still in this market. And then the Goodson Group's crown jewel there is the Bo Goodson Real Estate School, one of the most highly acclaimed and accredited real estate programs in the state of Alabama. And the proof of how good they are is just look at all the folks that have graduated from Bo's Real Estate School and gone on to great success, whether as more knowledgeable private players, owning multiple properties, renting things out, or as fully licensed real estate agents. It's a great way to study up to get that real estate license. You'll check them out today. You can always go to thegoodsongroup.com. That's thegoodsongroup.com, or give them a call at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. Great sponsor here of the program. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man. Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Our Arctic days and frigid nights continue as we continue to monitor that developing storm, that potential winter weather threat early on Friday. Today we're dry, good bit of sunshine, and still well below normal on the temperature, high only 48. The risk of rain and maybe some rain mixed in with a wintry mix beginning in the wee hours of Friday morning and early in the day on Friday with a low down to about 32, then becoming rain by midday Friday with a high only around 38. Ending well before midnight on Friday night, then partial sunshine, only 42 Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Now you can add the power of digital advertising to the #1 reach of radio. Let Blue Water's 20 years of local advertising and marketing success show you how. Grow your business with a complete suite of digital solutions, combined with the reach of the most listened to radio group in the river region. Call us or go to BlueWaterBroadcasting.com to find out how we can increase your return on investment. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
For more information, send an email to digital@BlueWaterBroadcasting.com.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm here as Joey Clark. Byron Sheehy here in the studio with me. And Byron, you found this. I think also Tankersley sent this to me and to a bunch of folks the other day. This is Governor Ron DeSantis saying this morning, I don't know if it was exactly this morning, it might have been yesterday, but saying this morning the 22nd statewide grand jury released its final report. This grand jury was tasked with investigating vaccine manufacturers and their production process for vaccines following the COVID-19 pandemic. So again, this is sort of, Florida in particular has been great at calling balls and strikes and trying to clean up what actually happened since COVID. So this is a grand jury tasked with investigating vaccine manufacturers and their production process for vaccines following the COVID pandemic. Governor DeSantis goes on, he says, while we are still reading through the report and its recommendations, it details that through deception and taking, quote-unquote, advantage of scientific journal infrastructure to hide adverse events from the public, Big Pharma engaged in a pattern of deceptive and obfuscatory, behavior. Big Pharma brought in billions of dollars in profit, and the federal government amplified bogus, quote-unquote, studies, all while suppressing any opposition that went against their preferred narrative. Instead of federal agencies acting as a backstop to bad incentives, they work closely with Big Pharma as they cut corners, even becoming unpaid advertisers on their behalf. The grand jury also details the frustrations of many, stating, quote, the sponsors have taken in billions of taxpayer dollars for creating and selling their vaccines. They cannot be sued if something goes wrong with them. They have access to critical information about deaths related to a side effect of their products, and the public does not have the access to that information. The grand jury has made a number of recommendations that should be followed. The status quo cannot continue. The American people deserve transparency on how Big Pharma is using their federal tax dollars, and they deserve regulating entities that operate as watchdogs, not cheerleaders. Well, regulatory capture is a real thing. And the most prominent example in recent years is this incestuous relationship between these pharmaceutical companies and the NIH, FDA, all this under the umbrella of HHS. It really is insane. And especially how they said using the journals to manipulate information, push their preferred narratives up. Yeah, it's fake. It's all fake. It's like you would ideally want an academic journal to be like a football game. Like the rules are clear, and here's the standards of the journal, and okay, do you meet it? But there's always like, at the end of the day, when it's not actually settled in the field, but it's settled by people in back rooms, there's always going to be an editor who's got a friend or has a brother or has a colleague, and they worked on something else together. And so certain things that threaten that little network of everybody running these journals, running these agencies, they know where their bread's buttered. They're not going to screw that up. And maybe if they think about, I'm going to blow the whistle, all the antibody response to anybody that actually wants to tell the truth about this stuff is immense. Thank God for Florida actually breaking into things.
This may be a tangent in and of itself, but when you also have public officials that you're supposed to trust that are, profiting off the COVID relief dollars, like they're kind of willing participants at that point. Like, how much courage can you have in standing up and saying that this is wrong, this is evil, this is gross overreach from government when you're on the tape?
Yeah. Well, unless you're willing to fall on your own sword, and maybe somebody's noble enough, like I repent, I'm sorry, like mercy, please, but I did these things, and I was part of these things, and I'm calling everybody out, but
I was a selfish, greedy SOB, and I took the free money when I didn't necessarily need it.
Well, we do live in a world where nobody expects that. Where you're just going to be that greedy SOB for the rest of your life, or at least even if you clean up your act a little bit, you're not going to admit to all the stuff you did.
Do we expect that, though?
No, I don't think we do anymore. I would want that. I personally would hope for that. I would encourage anybody who feels the bite of their conscience to actually stand up and say a thing about it. But I don't expect it these days.
I think most people's Jiminy Crickets are dead.
Yeah. You got to have a relationship with your Jiminy Cricket. Because if your relationship is just Jiminy occasionally gives you a lecture and you just go on doing what you're doing, yeah, it's not going to work very well.
I mean, this is, in my opinion, this is where the belief that government is soulless is from stuff like this. Like, the hypocrisy of, talking about the evils of it on one side and then having your wallet out and taking money on the other side. I mean, come on.
Well, I genuinely believe, and I continue, it was my op-ed this week, and I've written similar things in the past. The more I just cover politics, get to know people, but then study like the great theorists, like premier would be Niccolo Machiavelli. Mm-hmm. But then you read your Bible and you're like, wait. Like, if you're a nerd, go read some Machiavelli, then read the Bible, like the Sermon on the Mount and the Beatitudes. It's the polar opposite. I almost think morality dies under the umbrella of political necessity. That if I want to accomplish these certain things in politics, I'm going to have to be a little bit wicked myself. I can't just be this duty, honor-bound person that's always towing the line to play the game well and to have power, because you can't do anything if you don't have power, right? I've got to be a little bit dirty.
Politics is a human institution. It is not a godly institution.
Right. Amen. And it also, I think it encourages the worst behavior.
100%.
And it's a great add-on. The classic line is power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's Lord Acton actually talking about, should you respect titles of people, the clergy, or titles of people in governments? Does a title excuse bad behavior by some folks? But I love the add-on that somebody came up with, that power corrupts Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and power attracts the already corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
So if folks kind of are already willing to, their Jiminy Cricket really is dead, as you said. Yeah, why not go into the political game? I can make a lot of money. Or I can have power, I have status. There's all sorts of motivations for these things. And that's what troubles me, because I don't think most people are evil, like they intend to do evil. I think it's more like, I'm just trying to get by. Or I'm just playing the game.
Yeah,
and I'm not, I would if I could, but necessity has driven me to have to make this choice.
It kills me whenever I talk about politics that I actually have to refer to it as the business or the industry. Instead of the calling or the service. Right. Like we are so far away from that.
Oh yeah, we're way far away from that at this point in the day. This part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage, and they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you. Whether you're looking to buy a home, it all starts with pre-approval. Just call up Alabama Home Mortgage at 567-4223. Have that conversation with them, answer a few basic questions. They're going to be looking at your credit and all these different things, and they'll let you know. Here's how much home you can afford and afford to finance. And that's the first step before you actually get out there into this housing market. Don't skip pre-approval. You're going to break your heart and annoy everybody trying to sell that home if you don't already have pre-approval. And of course, if you're looking to refinance here in the new year, they can help you out there at Alabama Home Mortgage. Whether it's a regular refinance deal, maybe you're looking to get debt off your back or take some cash out or reinvest in your property, yourself, your family, or it could be you're a veteran and you want to take advantage of some of these stellar benefits through the VA home loan programs. And don't confuse the VA home loan programs with some of the horror stories you've heard from the hospital medical side of things. Alabama Home Mortgage is so good. I think their average turnaround time for a VA refinance is only like 15, 16 days. It's 2 weeks essentially, which is incredible. So they can really help you out there, but it all begins with a conversation. 567-4223 is that number for Alabama Home Mortgage. Again, 567-4223. Or you can always apply online, quick and easy. They're to apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. One guy I'm excited to see, because the state of Florida really does have they've done amazing work on trying to hold folks accountable from the whole COVID regime. I'm really excited to see, of course, Robert Kennedy Jr. get in there. I think he does get in, despite what will be a over the top. It's going to be political theater par excellence when Kennedy is having to do his hearings. But I'm not just excited about Kennedy. I'm really excited about maybe my favorite senator. I don't know. Is it our own? Is Tuberville or Brett our favorite? Or is Rand Paul my favorite? I might be Rand Paul. It might be Mike Lee. I don't know. But I'm excited to see Rand Paul. I think he's going to be chair of like the health committee, whatever it's called. And he is going to be ruling with an iron fist because they delayed, and denied all sorts of requests. Do you remember the fireworks between Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci?
Mm-hmm.
Senator Paul, you have no idea what you're talking about, Senator Paul. In particular, Paul talking about gain of functions, like, you have no idea what you're talking about. We redefined in the bureaucratic legalese what gain of function actually means. So it might, to a layman like you, seem like it's gain of function, but based on our technical standards that we came up with in a self-serving way, and say that, you have no idea what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Any word on any more of those blanket pardons for Dr. Fauci or some of those other cats?
That's amazing, by the way, because that's just admitting. Oh, well, it's to stop political prosecution. Okay. All right.
One of those need to be challenged.
But Rand Paul is holding the line when it comes to the whole spending thing up there in Washington, D.C.
Good.
At this point, I am kind of like, but what good does the debt ceiling even do for us? I don't.
If nothing else, it's a reminder of how out of control our government is.
That's fair. So here's Rand Paul on Newsmax talking about, how the Trump agenda might get passed. Let's listen in.
Sort of depends. I mean, there are a lot of things that do unite us. The tax cuts is big. I mean, it's huge. $4 trillion worth of tax cuts that are already in place. So basically, the American economy is predicated upon these tax cuts. If they go away, it's a tax increase. So that unites almost all of us. I don't know that any Republican is against not only keeping the tax breaks, but making them permanent. They have been a big boon for the economy. Nothing is probably more important than keeping the tax cuts in the bill. Unites all of us. On drilling and allowing more permitting from the federal government to drill on federal lands, I think it unites virtually all of us on that as well. The things that are potential at dividing us would be raising the debt ceiling with this bill. So if there's an attempt to raise the debt ceiling, I won't vote for the bill. And the reason is I haven't voted for the spending. I've voted every time against expanding the spending. I've voted for balanced budgets. I've introduced balanced budgets. The people who need to be ashamed or need to be participating in a day of shame and voting for the raising of the debt ceiling are the Democrats and the big government Republicans who vote for the spending. It's the way it's always been done in the past. Conservatives have never voted to raise the debt ceiling because we don't vote for the spending. It's not our responsibility. It's the people who vote for the spending and for the debt to vote for it. So hopefully they'll keep that off of the reconciliation bill. If they do, I think we can stay united enough to pass the bill.
If, it's... What do you think happens if Democrats come out and say we're not going to vote for this? If it can't get now, if it's reconciliation, does it just need 50 in the Senate?
Yeah, it just needs 50. And
this big bill would only need 50.
Yeah, but it needs virtually every Republican in the House. And so what I'm telling you and what I'm hoping conservatives will hear across the land, conservatives like myself are all for virtually everything in there, securing the border, cutting taxes. We're for the whole package, but we're not for raising the debt ceiling. And that's already been evidenced. At Christmas time, we had this. Most of the Freedom Caucus voted against raising the debt ceiling. So as long as they're separated out, you can keep all the Republicans together. But the one way to destroy it, the one thing that destroys it, is sticking the debt ceiling on this bill. So I hope the powers that be will not do that.
So maybe we're going to get a few different bills. I know Trump kept pushing one big, beautiful bill, but you got to do the math at the end of the day. You got to have the votes. It'll be interesting to see the entire dynamic, who actually ends up being leaders in the Senate and in the House that actually work with Trump, not just the folks who put out the press release, I love Trump and he loves me, but who are the actual point people in all of this. I suspect Tommy Tuberville's in the running to be one of those people.
It's going to have to be someone that can go to those unattainable Republicans and be like, hey, what do we have to do to get you back over here on the reservation?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, let's keep going with Rand Paul here for just a little bit more.
You think in the House, like Chip Roy and Massey and those fellas wouldn't go for that either?
I can't speak for them. All I can say is that 38 of them, and I think those two are included, voted against the package that raised the debt ceiling. I will vote against any package that includes raising the debt ceiling. So let's hope we can come together on the things we agree on. Tax cuts, securing the border, hopefully spending cuts. I want spending cuts to be part of this as well.
Well, and I think the concerns that you and others have were heard by Trump, because when he spoke at that news conference yesterday, I don't know if you heard him, but he mentioned something about, I'm all for cutting spending. I mean, I think he's definitely getting that, he's getting that message, and he's been a rather spendy president in the past. I mean, he did, that was maybe one of the flaws that he had. If you're a fiscal conservative, was looking at how much debt he incurred. I think he's gotten your message though.
Yeah, and it's, I think the public is with us. I think the business community is with us. I think people are seeing this cliff, this fiscal cliff that's coming upon us.
It's
Social Security is going to be bankrupt. Social Security will be bankrupt in 2034. We have to start cutting expenses. We have to do everything we can to encourage the economy to grow. That helps to balance your budget, but we also need to cut expenses. 2/3 of all the expenses are entitlements. You have to look at entitlements. The remaining third, half of it's military. You have to look at military. The problem is, in my caucus, I hear them clamoring. The military hawks want more military money. But the only way they get that, by busting the caps, is they usually give the Democrats more welfare money. So it's warfare and welfare. They go together. And that's what the clamor is now. The clamor isn't actually in my caucus for balancing the budget. The clamor among the establishment, big government Republicans, is for spending more money on the military.
Well, and that's what it's meant to be, a moderate for all these years in Washington, that you support a big warfare and welfare state.
I love how some of these cats, their argument is, let's just spend more money to get us out of the situation that we're in. If we just spend more money.
The problem is spending more money. It's like a junkie going, I just need another hit, man.
Well, we can't be in a recession if we spend more money.
Right, and if you don't give me that hit, I'm going to get into withdrawals. Yeah, let's just keep the party going. It's like you're drunk as a skunk going 100 miles an hour down I-85, and folks are like, you're going to crash and hurt somebody or yourself. And it's like, well, I haven't crashed yet. Give me more whiskey.
Kind of sounds like that old mayor over in L.A.
This part of the program brought to you by Sweet Creek Farm Market. And you got to go by C. Reed Ingram there at Sweet Creek Farm Market, folks. He's built a beautiful, beautiful establishment. It's a great place for finding that, the stuff that's hard to find that might be in your memory, like childhood memories. Like, what was that you were saying the other day? Like a certain jam that you were talking about? Rhubarb, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're probably not going to find that at Publix. No.
I've looked.
And even if you do, it's like some national thing. It's not the real thing.
You don't have chunks of rhubarb in it.
No, you need the real thing. Go to Sweet Creek to get the real thing, the Alabama-made stuff. And, of course, you can do grocery shopping there. I've bought milk there before. I've bought butter there before. Meat. They've got all sorts of great selection for basic grocery shopping. Of course, sweets, fresh baked sweets, big old layer cakes, and I think they sell them in halves, too. Maybe even mini personal ones. Of course, they also have the huge hubcap cookies. Sam brought us some of the swamp cookie yesterday. Oh, that's where they just throw everything in there into the batter. It's so good. It's a good workout cookie, actually. Like if you're doing a big leg day, just munch on one of those a little bit. You'll be all right. And, of course, they have an award-winning cafe there at Sweet Creek Farm Market, so you can get you a nice cup of joe, or maybe you're looking for a great sandwich, good lunch. They can do all that there for you at Sweet Creek Farm Market. And, hey, it's a great place to take the kids. Maybe you just want to have a place to take the kids on a Saturday. Let them run around and play with the chickens running around, big old playground area, while you sip coffee and shop and just chat with folks, see what's going on, what the scuttlebutt is. That's Sweet Creek Farm Market, folks. Y'all check them out today. And, again, go find Reed Ingram there at Sweet Creek, or you can find Karen, too. But find Reed Ingram there at Sweet Creek, and be sure to tell him that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
The Tierce family has been your local Roto-Rooter service since 1964. Drain cleaning, plumbing repair, and those troublesome septic tanks, no problem. Technology has changed a bit in the last 54 years. Video inspections of lines to locate problems is available, as well as scheduling your appointment online. River Region residents have trusted Roto-Rooter for over half a century. You can too. Call today at 272-7130 or visit online at rotorooteralabama.com.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name, and legal troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
No one wants to wait on service for an overhead door. With 20 years in the industry, you now have access to the best with All Access Overhead Door. All Access Overhead Doors offers prompt professional service at affordable prices on all service and new garage doors for residential and commercial locations. All Access Overhead Door serves the River region and can take care of whatever you need when it comes to your overhead door. Remember, you have access to the best. All Access Overhead Door. Call and schedule an appointment today. 320-2440. And like them on Facebook. They sell the best and service the rest.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228. If you want to get in on the conversation, that's 334-272-9228. But first, we didn't get a chance to talk to him yesterday, so let's go right to the phones
and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Joey. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So, what's the score there on a Thursday?
It's 21-3.
Ooh.
It's Michael Jackson had a full day yesterday. In fact, the customer wanted him allotted 2 days to do his install, and it was in Troy, so we had a couple hours of driving there and back. But anyway, he gets down there. He gets NVR hooked up for his camera system. He replaces the camera, puts in a new 77-inch OLED, puts in some audio equipment, puts in a new cabinet, rewires up most of what he had, programmed 5 Control4 remotes, and was back at the store at 6.
Wow, that's a lot.
So yeah, I mean, it's really nice when all that all gets in alignment. Because you look at everything that he's got, and it's supposed to take longer, and he just works it, and he's smooth, and you never know when he's struggling, and he just gets it done.
Well, and folks, there's an amazing selection there in terms of products at Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. But the service, I think, is what makes it a difference. Why y'all are a 60-plus year institution. Why I think it's now just a family tradition, at least in the Clark family, to buy from Cohen's. Y'all really do have a great service team, yourself included, Michael. And
well, thank you.
And I just hope folks you check y'all out for any electronic or appliance needs. You can always, if you already know what you want, just call up Cohen's at 277-8890. You can shop from home at thinkcohens.com. But there's nothing like actually stopping by the Boulevard, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And when you stop by, be sure to find Michael and be like, hey, I heard you on the radio with that Joey fella. Eddie wasn't there that day.
Poor Eddie. He was there yesterday.
He was. Well, he actually left right after.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. You're living in his head. I love it. I love it.
Fast Eddie.
Well, appreciate it, Michael.
All right. Thank y'all. Take care. See you.
Yeah, talk to you tomorrow. So, final hour coming up. And again, the number is 272-9228 if you want to join the conversation, whatever the conversation is. But it should be interesting. One thing, it might be a little nerdy, but great op-ed today from a fantastic writer. He really is a great writer. Alan Mendenhall.
Read it.
Alabama needs the classic learning test. Might just have to straight up read that. Of course, we also have a great clip from Peter St. Onge, another brilliant fella, about how Doge can cut $1 trillion in spending. I want to hear Peter St. Onge out about that and much more after the break.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Another blast of winter storms, closing schools, snarling flights, and putting millions of residents on alert across parts of the deep south and south central U.S. The storm started dumping a mix of sleet and heavy snow this morning in North Texas and Oklahoma, where schools canceled classes for more than 1 million students. The National Weather Service says the heaviest snowfall likely in parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Texas. Firefighters battling to control a series of major fires in the Los Angeles area that have killed 5 people, ravaged communities from the Pacific coast to Pasadena, and have sent thousands of residents fleeing their homes. 5 deaths reported, but that number is expected to rise. Nearly 2,000 structures have been destroyed. This is SRN News.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Our Arctic days and frigid nights continue as we continue to monitor that developing storm, that potential winter weather threat early on Friday. Today we're dry, good bit of sunshine, and still well below normal on the temperature. High only 48. The risk of rain and maybe some rain mixed in with a wintry mix beginning in the wee hours of Friday morning and early in the day on Friday with a low down to about 32. Then becoming rain by midday Friday with a high only around 38. Ending well before midnight on Friday night, then partial sunshine, only 42 Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Delray to Publix.
1819 News.
U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville believes this new Congress will be able to pass the Protection for Women and Girls in Sports Act. Tuberville offered this bill last year, but the legislation went nowhere due to the efforts coming from a Democrat-controlled Senate. The bill being offered by Tuberville would define a person's sex based on their gender at birth and would thus prohibit a biologically born male from participating in female athletic programs under the title of being a transgender woman. Tuberville says that the Biden administration has been actively undermining the language of Title IX to include transgender females in all areas of public school and college sports programs. Tuberville says that this has been an effort to destroy women's sports and to rob biological women of their opportunities, scholarships, and trophies. Tuberville says his bill needs to be turned into law in order to protect women's sports, saying to not do so would be unsafe, unfair, and wrong. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
I'm Amy Beth Schaefer with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
An employee at the Strickland Youth Center in Mobile has been fired from his job. Jared Easley was accused last month of punching a teenager at that facility. An investigation was conducted by the board and has resulted in his termination. Easley has also been officially charged by Mobile police for willful abuse of a child under the age of 18. A hearing for the case against Easley is set for January 20th. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
With winter storm weather on the way, our friends at Alabama Power are prepped and ready for the added challenges that ice, falling trees, and extreme temperatures can bring. And you can also take steps to prepare. For winter storm safety tips and how to manage cost and energy usage while staying warm, visit alabamapower.com/winter weather or alabamapower.com/winter. Alabama Power's top priority is to keep the lights on and the heat running no matter what Mother Nature sends our way. Everybody stay safe and warm out there.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
There are those that think I'm a very stable genius.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Now, if you've been wondering, where's Eddie Bader been all day? Well, we have actually a special device here that can read what's going on inside his mind. Here, let's listen in real quick.
Always be closing. Always be closing.
Now, he's out there real estating today, but Byron Shee's been keeping me company in the studio.
I thought that was going to say a dozen glaze, please.
Yeah, it's a combination of real estate stuff and food.
The lights on.
You're right. Oh, welcome back to the program. Now, we were left off with Rand Paul talking about cutting spending, and there are a lot of conservatives seriously want to do it. I think when I look at both Alabama senators, I think they're going to try to bring money to the state, especially farmers and the military interests in the state. But I think Senator Britt, when she was running for office, explicitly endorsed Senator Paul's penny plan, which I think is a good approach. So I'd imagine she would be for something like that. And I imagine Tuberville would be for something like that. When you look at, what do you think of Dale Strong so far? The new guy up in North Alabama.
I gotta be honest, I haven't really followed that much. I mean, I knew
he seems likable enough and well spoken, but I don't know anything about him.
I knew him when he was county commissioner up there.
Okay.
Nice guy. I just haven't been tracking much of his activity in D.C.
Because I know Mike Rogers being chair of armed services, I don't know if he's the guy you go to for your cutting the budget conversation. I think he's more guarding certain interests.
Yeah.
So maybe we can't completely rely on the Congress. Maybe we need to actually rely on folks that aren't even in government. And by that I mean Doge. I love that it's called the Department of Government Efficiency because it's not a government department. Doge. And here's Peter St. Onge laying out, well, here's how Doge might be able to cut $1 trillion easily. Elon saying just the other day, by the way, they're really going to go for the $2 trillion number, but hear Peter's breakdown.
Will the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, manage to cut trillions? With great mountains of waste in federal spending, what might Doge go after first?
Good question.
So recently I covered Argentina's glorious revolution where Javier Milei cut government spending with a chainsaw. In U.S. terms, he cut over a quarter of spending, so about $1.5 trillion in U.S. terms. He laid off tens of thousands of bureaucrats, again in U.S. terms, north of 500,000 bureaucrats. He abolished over half of government departments. Afuera they went. The left warned of Armageddon, so economic depression, collapsing markets, grandmas and abuelitas eating cat food. Of course, these were lies. After a brief recession of roughly 3.5% of GDP, Argentina is now in a roaring recovery, with JP Morgan forecasting 8.5% growth next year. Moreover, considering Milei cut government spending by 5.5%, yet GDP only fell by 3.5%, it suggests the private sector immediately started growing with government cuts. It was just the government that shrank. So this is all pretty exciting for Doge to take a chainsaw to our occupying army of bureaucrats. So where to start? The Government Accountability Office, Washington's accountants, estimates there's up to $500 billion in waste and fraud alone. Toss in another $500 billion plus in crony payouts to left-wing activists and right-wing corporations. Well, mixed at this point.
Well, so that's $1 trillion right there, just alone.
And then hundreds of billions in useless wars, and it is surprisingly easy to cut trillions without even touching Social Security, or sacred cows like national parks. So start with the ridiculous spending. $1 million to see if quail, as in little birds, fight more when you give them cocaine. $10 million to spread LGBT ideology in very Muslim Pakistan.
Okay, so the birds definitely fight more on cocaine. And then I don't think the LGBTQ plus whatever education is going to work in
You don't
Pakistan.
think that was well received over there?
No, I don't want to be a woman in that part of the world. I don't want to be a woman in the UK right now.
Who makes these decisions, man? Like, really?
I know.
Really?
No, and it's sort of like, macrocosm, microcosm, like what we're seeing in California. The DC's even crazier. What we see on Goat Hill. It's like these little, I think Alabama's better than California. I'll put you, in terms of government, if that's the standard, we're doing all right. It shouldn't be the standard. We should hold ourselves to a higher standard than how's California doing or how's Pakistan doing. But come on. But anyway, let's keep going here.
These together add up to tens of billions. But the big ones are, starting with the military, the $175 billion plus that we've spent sending Ukrainians to die, the billions we spend defending Japan, Korea, and Europe, the bases in nearly every country on Earth. Then, of course, cronyism. So I've mentioned the hundreds of billions we give left-wing nonprofits to organize, lobby, and riot, not least being the Department of Education, the mothership for K-12 indoctrination, that fails to teach reading and math, yet somehow manages to waste 5 times per student what Japan spends. On the flip side, corporate welfare agencies like Commerce, Agriculture, Energy, Transportation, the Housing Finance Agency, the Export-Import Bank, who bails out big businesses when they lose money overseas, and then toss in the regulatory empire, the SEC, FTC, Department of Labor, EPA, whose collective purpose is hunting and destroying American businesses. And then, of course, the Fed, which does both, hunting down any company that threatens Wall Street and handing hundreds of billions to bankers. Sometimes it gets up to trillions. The inflation and recessions are bonus. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Government waste is like drinking from a fire hose. The trick is avoiding painful cuts like Social Security or national parks, which are the cuts the left wants to focus on in the media.
Of course.
And instead, drilling out the trillions of pure waste, political corruption, and agencies that destroy much more than they spend, outfits like the EPA. There's plenty there, and we can talk about parks when we've cut a couple trillion. We have a target-rich environment, but for the left's pro-government crusaders, this is the boss battle. They will throw everything they've got, including lawfare, to stop it. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a heck of a showdown.
Man, I'd start with the 500 billion in cronyism, and if we can get rid of that.
Well, and people go, you can't touch entitlements without reforming entitlements at all. And there are all sorts of things. The Democrats clearly are going to say, well, remove the cap on withholding. But that kind of gives away the game that Social Security isn't about your money. It's actually another welfare scheme. That's interesting, isn't it? No, or raise the age or whatever. You don't have to do any of that and scare old people, because that will be the politics. If you start talking about reforming entitlements, the whole name of the game is to scare old people. If you're an old person out there, don't fall for it. Don't be scared. Live without fear, especially not of these yahoos, these weenies up in D.C. Don't let them scare you, Grandma.
You know what I love? I love when people a little older than us start talking about, well, that was a contract we entered into with the government, and we wrote that. Like,
they lied from the beginning.
Yeah. Good luck. Go get that. I mean,
because they sold it as a personal account, and then they argued in front of the Supreme Court, actually, it's just under our general taxing power.
Right. Which
means the money could go technically.
But our generation has accepted that we're not going to see anything. So it's funny to me that, that generation is still kind of like, well, by God, that should be ours. And we're like, yeah.
But I'm saying you don't even have to go to that territory of like where everybody's going to be hissing at Grandpa. Like, be scared, Grandpa. Great beat. Meemaw? They're taking everything away from you.
They're taking your bourbon away. Meemaw.
Yeah, we don't even have to go in that direction. The GAO estimates hundreds of billions of dollars in improper payments in Medicare and Social Security and Medicaid. So if you could just nail down like
the fraud.
Right. I think in if anybody's going to do it, it's probably going to be Doge. I think these guys know how to cut and create efficiencies and just structure of systems. So that's hopeful. And you're right, the cronyism. But here's the deal: is there's going to be folks. Everybody's going to be all fighting for their little piece of the pie, defending their sacred cows.
And that, if you can justify it, power to you.
How about the military? So if you're a politician in Alabama, you would be, pardon me, a dumbass to talk bad about the farmers or talk bad about the military. And by talk bad, I mean you suggest maybe we don't spend as much, and then you're like, why do you hate us, is the way the attacks will come. But is there a way where you still reform these things and still bring home the bacon?
For me personally, I think, and it's not actually addressing the problem as you present it. I think you get rid of as many bureaucrats as you can and get the best of the best who want to be there because they actually enjoy what they do and they're not just leeches. And then you get rid of the cronyism. And with that environment, I think a lot of the other problems start to massage themselves out over the next cycle or two.
Well, and if you told the Pentagon, okay, we're not going to keep spending money overseas, and then we're actually going to cut things back, but we're going to have a renewed emphasis on the so-called defense industrial base. And so we're going to still plow plenty of money into producing things and manufacturing weapons and all sorts of other systems. That might be a point you could sell people on, to where you're still bringing home, we're still protecting your nexus of, say, military, but you're not wasting it abroad. It's more still staying here in the United States. And I think that's something congressmen and senators might be able to get behind.
I think the number of elected officials who necessarily care where, or even bureaucrats who care where or how the money is spent, they don't care about that so long as it is spent.
Yes.
To your point.
Yes. So they can say, look at this much money we brought back home to this this thing, that thing, the other thing. But something's got to give in terms of big picture. Like, and maybe Doge is exactly what we need to be outside of government. And I think some of these things, some of these agencies, the regulatory side of this, the administrative state or the deep state, the administrative state, I think they're going to try to pare it back unilaterally through the executive. It's something that Vivek has been big on since he was running. I think Elon would be all for it, because notice that Trump said they'll be reporting to the Office of Management and Budget. I forget the guy's name, but he was there last time under Trump. And he's very much a guy who thinks you can use the levers of power within OMB to actually stop money flowing to a lot of these agencies where we think it's corrupt or inefficient, or we just it's not needed. And keep in mind, this guy is serious in the sense that this OMB director, he's the guy who stopped the money going to Ukraine that got Trump impeached. Because I don't think they would have taken it seriously if it was just Trump talking. But as soon as that money flow actually was threatened and stopped, oh no, we got to do something.
You got to stop payment on that check.
Get that whistleblower we have as a mole on the National Security Council to write up a report so we can impeach him. Adam Schiff has a whole scheme that's going to make it work. But I think you are going to see challenges to things like with the new Supreme Court. I think you're going to see a lot of challenges by the executive branch, by Trump and team unilaterally. Things like impoundment. I think it's 1974, they take away that power from presidents. Every president had done impoundment, so to speak, up until Nixon, which is Congress allocates, let's say, $100 billion to this thing. And you go, well, we really only need 50 to get the job done, so I'm not spending that other 50 billion on that thing. I'm just holding on to it.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that tomorrow.
That power was taken away under Nixon. It was challenged, of course, and the Supreme Court upheld it. So do you see the Trump administration go, no, we're going to do it? It goes to the Supreme Court again, and does the court decide something different?
Well, you said it was taken away under Nixon, but you meant the Congress under Nixon, right?
The Congress took it away, yes.
And that was a Democrat Congress, correct?
Yes. So a lot of new challenges, and I think a lot of creative ways to actually cut spending. But Peter St. Onge is certainly right about this. Anybody that's trying to protect these little fiefdoms, whether it's cronyism or somebody's making bank off improper payments, or it's folks that just, well, their politics is the classic, patron system. Like, they're going to defend what they have.
As that old lobbyist told me a long time ago, that red and blue stuff just for back home in the district. The only color up here that matters is green.
Well, and I think a general idea, just a general principle that would be good is we need to disentangle D.C. and spread out the roles of the federal government all over the country.
Okay.
Yeah, so like certain departments don't even need to be in D.C. when most of your activity, like Department of Interior, put in Montana or something.
Yeah, but I need to be in D.C. because that's the sphere of everything.
Yeah, but get rid of that dynamic.
Who in the world's going to come see me in Bozeman, Montana?
Right. It's beautiful, though.
Better come the 3 months it's not 4 feet of snow.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to go about this. What will actually happen? I don't know, folks. I have no idea, but it's going to be fun to watch the back and forth. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health, and they're at Montgomery Men's Health. Well, they're ready to help you fellas out, especially if you've been noticing like you just don't have that edge you used to, that drive, that motivation. You're never in the mood. Like you have no libido, no sex drive to speak of. You're seeing one at weight gain, loss of muscle mass. It's not like you're eating more or doing less, like your activity levels have changed. Oh, you're doing the same thing you've always done, but you just feel like you're slowing down physically and mentally. Well, knowing whether you have low testosterone is huge in combating some of these issues. And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health can conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And they have low T treatments there at Montgomery Men's Health. If that is indeed your problem, that can truly change men's lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism. You usually even notice an increased libido, which ain't bad. And you can actually book the same day that you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. My last message was the report for 2024 real estate market in the River region. According to industry experts, they predict for 2025 we will have more inventory to choose from for our buyers, more buyers for sellers to show their houses to. Here are 5 tips for buyers or sellers in 2025. Number 1, sellers need to price their home at fair market value with the help of your realtor. Number 2, buyers need to be pre-qualified by a local lender prior to shopping for a house to save them time. Number 3, use a certified residential specialist or CRS to purchase or sell your home. Less than 2% of realtors nationwide have this designation. You need an expert now. 4, use someone with 48 years of real estate experience to help you with your largest investment. Number 5, quit waiting. Now's the time to buy or sell. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883, the Goodson Group, or 551-0225.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus.
I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. Our weather app will keep you on top of the action as we get ready to have a brush with a winter storm situation. Overnight tonight, the risk of some rain begins in the pre-dawn hours, maybe mixed with some freezing rain or snow, some type of wintry mix that could affect travel, especially on bridges and overpasses through early in the day on Friday before it turns to all rain. Low tonight down to about 32, the high on Friday only 38, with the rain ending well before midnight tonight. And the farther north you go in the state, the travel problems really escalate. Not recommended. On Saturday, partial sunshine, cold, high 42. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations since we began in 1906. At CB&S Bank, we're here for you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. It's News and Views in the afternoon. So, some folks have been really poo-pooing this idea of, like, Trump talking up the Greenland acquisition and in the Panama Canal.
Man. It's nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening.
It's not happening?
The Greenland thing?
Yeah, it's not happening. I'm not saying it becomes a state.
It's not going to become a territory. It's not going to become a state.
I mean, it might. 200% tariffs on Denmark. All right.
Not without warfare. Denmark is not letting Greenland go. Too many resources, man.
But they'll let us house U.S. military assets there.
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of... I just like that certain folks are like freaking out that he is going to invade Greenland or invade Canada or something like that.
We're going to mount polar bears in charge.
That would actually be pretty America. I might even, as an Auburn graduate, go Roll Tide. But here is the incoming national security advisor. He's asked by Jesse Waters about all this, like, talk of the Panama Canal and Greenland and, like, what's Trump up to? And actually, this guy, Mike Waltz, says what I've been saying. It's like this actually is kind of just reiterating our hegemony in the Western Hemisphere. Mm-hmm. Like, it's sort of just reiterating we're the top dog here. Let's listen in.
When you're going to be national security advisor, tell us what the deal is with Greenland.
Well, look, this is not just about Greenland. This is about the Arctic. You have Russia that is trying to become king of the Arctic with 60 plus icebreakers, some of them nuclear powered. You know how many we have, Jesse? We have 2, and 1 just caught on fire. This is about critical minerals. This is about natural resources. This is about, as the polar ice caps pull back, the Chinese are now cranking out icebreakers and pushing up there as well. So it's oil and gas, it's our national security, it's critical minerals. And Denmark can be a great ally, but you can't treat Greenland, which they have operational control over, as some kind of backwater. It's in the Western Hemisphere. Multiple presidents have tried to bring it into our sphere. And here's the thing, as you just saw from Don Jr. landing up there, the people of Greenland, all 56,000 of them, are excited about the prospect of, making the Western Hemisphere great again.
If I were a Greenlandian, I'd rather be on the American side of things than the Danes, but that's just me. The critical minerals there in Greenland, and the oil and gas is where? In the Arctic?
It's up in the Arctic. It's all north of Canada. You're starting to see shipping lanes and shipping coming across the north side, the famous Northwest Passage. That all has to be secured, Jesse. And right now, we don't have a single base in the north side of Alaska, and we need the Canadians to step up. They're next to last in NATO defense spending. So this is about reintroducing America in the Western Hemisphere, whether that is taking on the cartels, the Panama Canal, Greenland, the Gulf of America, which I love. I'm waiting to see the maps redrawn. Right? You could call it Monroe Doctrine 2.0, but this is all part of the America First agenda, and it's been ignored for far too long.
So it's kind of what I suspected is the actual play. But I saw you shaking your head over there, just like, you don't think any of this is right?
I mean, we can go take the Panama Canal back tomorrow. I don't have any problem with that.
Right.
But to think that the whole Greenland thing is going to happen, nah.
I'm just saying, like, I've been on the other side of saying, no way Trump's doing that. And then he does the thing.
Well, okay, he can go try to do that. That's going to create a war.
With who?
Denmark, Finland, all the Nordic countries. They're not going to stand for that, dude. Let's just creep over there and take Poland. Going to get a lot of similarities there.
I don't think it's the same thing as invading Poland.
You're right. What claim do we have to it?
That we're the premier superpower in this part of the world.
So we can just go exert our force and go take it.
Mm-hmm.
Even when these people don't identify with U.S., America in any way, culturally, government-wise.
Yeah, but it's an opening bid.
An opening bid?
Yeah.
I didn't know they put a bid out.
No, it's to get the conversation going. Like, the house ain't for sale. Well, we really still want your house.
Yeah. F off.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the shotgun over my dead body. Okay, well, over your dead body, we'll take it. Okay, well, that might be the case.
Right. Well, and I've seen a lot of the European Union types saying, well, we live in a world where borders are sacrosanct. Like, really? Really? Okay.
Let's go claim Antarctica.
No, they're all for playing around with borders in the Middle East. Like, it's just, I think this idea of the international rules-based liberal order, it's always been a bit of a farce.
Here's where the understanding would be. No one else can put a 10 up over there. And you can stay Denmark. You know, you can eat your Danishes and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Eat your herring. No one else can build anything over here.
Yeah, I'm saying some effect of this. There's a reason he's bringing it up. And it's all the reasons that Mike Waltz just laid out.
Yeah, it's resources.
And I don't know if it becomes an official territory of the United States. But again, he's just getting started. There's a reason they're pushing this out to begin with.
We will have a great partnership, but they will remain their, or keep their autonomy.
272-9228. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey, Papa John.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. It's an interesting discussion you guys are having, and let me tell you that, of course, I listen to a lot during the day, being out running up down the roads. But I heard somebody the other day describe the circumstances under which the Greenland thing could happen. And, you know, let's face it, Donald Trump is probably the best deal maker in the world. One of the scenarios was saying pay them a lump sum and then give both the citizens of Greenland and whatever country you paid to buy it a piece of the resources as far as, you know, whatever cash value you're getting out of it, a part of the resources on an ongoing basis. The only thing Trump wants to do, and I agree with it, get your nose under the tent. If you get your nose under the tent, circumstances can always change, and you can improve your position, but you got to get a part of it to start off with, and I'd rather have part of the pie than none of the pie.
No, and that makes sense that you essentially are sharing mineral rights and other rights, and people get a certain cut of that. Makes
right,
sense.
and you know, as you go along, and I don't know, what it'd be 10 years down the road, 20 years, probably probably way after I'm dead. But it could end up being, a solely owned territory or state or whatever by the United States, and that could happen as a result of what the citizens of Greenland decide they want. And that's one of those things, the citizens themselves are going to have a certain amount of power to begin with, but then the further you go along with it and they get a bigger taste of the American dream, the more things can change. So I don't think it's totally without some kind of merit as having it happen. The same thing goes to the Panama Canal, which you've already said. That's one of those could happen tomorrow.
Well,
but everything that Trump's done, he's going to do it in a manner that's going to make everybody feel like they're a winner. And that's what he says in part of the deal that he does. He wants everybody to feel like they've got something out of it. And he's a master at it, so I don't see how you can say poo-poo, it ain't going to happen.
Well, we shall see. Well, I appreciate the call, man.
Keep at it, man. Talk to you later.
Yeah, and he usually does begin with like something absurd and over the top. I think to just get everybody's attention. Here's where we're going. In particular, the trolling of Canada is, that's delicious. Yeah, I don't think Canada is going to be the 51st state, but I think Trump is making it very clear y'all need to get on board with us on certain things that are very crucial to us, and we dominate this hemisphere. And where I'm at is I think great power competition isn't only just back, it never really left.
Correct.
And so for all the rules of the international order and law, and I think the UN should be closed.
Wah, wah.
Right. I think at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, it does come down to your ability to project power. I mean, when you look at it, I think the name of the game with China is you just contain them. You keep them from breaking through the so-called first island chain, because that's the way the Chinese could actually dominate that part of the world, is they essentially push our Navy into deep blue water and away from that unsinkable aircraft carrier called Taiwan. That's one thing. I think right now that doesn't go as talked about as much in the press is who's going to actually have de facto control of space. And the idea, maybe I'm wrong about this, but the idea is I've read is that whoever controls, it's not like 2 or 3 people control space. Whoever ends up controlling space, they're going to control it for a while. And I mean, like, who actually has the ability to protect it, to project power from space. All major nations are using those capabilities already. But I think Starlink, why does Elon Musk get away with a lot of stuff? I think Starlink, for instance, is incredibly crucial to what the Pentagon's trying to do. And Elon has made himself so valuable on many fronts that he gets away with a lot more than the average bear. But I get tired of the folks that have been running the show forever, where things have kind of get into a crappier and crappier situation, be like, well, that's just not how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, the way you've been doing it isn't working, so we're going to flip the tables.
Well, especially when things are changing at an exponential rate. Like, you can't say, well, this is the way that it's always been done. Well, the world's not the way that it's always been.
Right.
I mean, for whatever it's worth, if we're keeping score, I believe we own space. You know, no matter who you talk to, anybody that's ever visited Area 51, whatever, what did they always say? Oh, whatever you imagine, it's about 30, 40 years behind the technology curve. I don't care how quickly China advanced, they are not on par with where we are. We'll own space.
Yeah.
Now,
and I would rather be us than anybody else.
Yeah. 100%.
And especially us as opposed to like some international cooperative government or something. Give me a break.
I don't know. I want to see one of those horrible. I judge a lot of countries by how they perform in the Olympics. And if the Jamaican bobsled team could barely medal, I'm not going to be too concerned about them getting a device up or some equipment up in space. Same goes for Kazakhstan or any of the stands over there. Like,
oh man, the geopolitical map could be changed though if the Khans return. Like the Mongolians are pissed that they would have been put in their place. They're ready to rise up again.
you got to be so tall to ride certain rides. They fall well below that, so I'm not worried about that.
Now, before we got time here left in this segment, shifting gears back to Alabama, because folks have been asking for solutions. Yeah, what you conservative types, you just complain. It's like, well, yeah, it's kind of what I do. I call myself a jackass on the radio all the time. Like, I know what I am in many ways. Maybe I have blind spots. I'll keep trying to search myself. But here's a solution in the op-ed page is a small part of maybe a larger solutions. This is the op-ed page is 1819news.com. Alan Mendenhall says Alabama needs classic learning test. He writes, in the sprawling landscape of American education, standardized testing has calcified into a bureaucratic exercise devoid of intellectual ambition. Alabama stands poised to distinguish itself with the Classical Learning Test, or CLT, which offers a bold alternative to institutional stagnation. More than a technocratic assessment, the CLT represents a deliberate reclamation, a principled intervention against the quiet erosion of educational standards and cultural understanding. The Atlantic recently lamented an epidemic of college illiteracy. Students are increasingly incapable of reading a complete book. Damn. A Harvard professor confessed to abandoning Nathaniel Hawthorne because, well, he is a bit dense, because students could not locate subjects or verbs. Okay, that's really bad. I'm saying Hawthorne's a little verbose. It's a lot of words, but they couldn't identify subjects and verbs within sentences, let alone decipher 19th century prose.
Dude, 2 days ago when we were going over the reading scores and everything, whatever our number was, 437 or whatever, it was about 40 points lower than what experts said the national average should be. So even our own test scores for all the improvements that we have are watered down.
Now, Alan Mendenhall goes on. He says, imagine the intellectual paralysis this deficiency portends for understanding the Emancipation Proclamation or the nuanced terms of our founding documents. He's right. The College Board, that leviathan of standardized testing, has progressively diluted academic rigor to match our culture's diminishing attention span. The SAT now offers reading passages shorter than a typical social media post, a capitulation to technological attention decay that would make Alexa de Tocqueville weep French tears. A University of Cincinnati study, writes Alan Mendenhall, documented a 71-point drop in SAT math test rigor between 2008 and 2023, a statistic that should alarm any defender of serious intellectual standards. Jeremy Tate, however, founded the CLT in 2015 as a counterweight. His insight was profound. High-stakes testing has become a Procrustean bed, forcing curriculum into narrow, mechanistic frameworks that strip education of its transformative potential. The CLT offers a radical alternative, examinations that engage students with the past 2 millennia, most meaningful intellectual and cultural traditions. This approach isn't about simple nostalgia. The CLT represents a structured rebellion against progressive academic orthodoxy, which systematically eliminates moral and ethical considerations from education. Whereas the College Board has increasingly prioritized ideological conformity, using Bernie Sanders as an essay prompt and treating environmental ideology as axiomatic, the CLT seeks to restore education's fundamental purpose, developing intellect and character. The philosophical lineage is distinguished here. As far back as Plato, education was understood as a holistic endeavor to create better human beings, not merely to produce credentialed workers. The American founders understood education as essential to preserving liberty, a vision that CLT seeks to resurrect. Alabama's educational landscape is particularly ripe for cultivation, writes Alan Mendenhall. Classical education in charter schools has increased in the last decade, signaling parents' deep hunger for substantive virtue-oriented learning. The CLT offers a testing framework that aligns with this vision, challenging students with rich, meaningful content that requires genuine intellectual engagement. Consider the practical implications. In Florida, all public universities now accept the CLT. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis has implemented it across graduation requirements and universal school choice programs. Alabama has an opportunity to lead similarly, liberating its educational institutions from the College Board's increasingly narrow and politically charged agenda. All public universities in Alabama should accept the CLT. writes Alan Mendenhall. The stakes extend beyond test scores. We find ourselves at a critical juncture, choosing between a utilitarian model that reduces learning to a series of standardized metrics and a pedagogy that contemplates intellectual and moral development. The CLT is not a panacea, of course, but it represents something essential, a principled alternative that could reserve educational declines. For Alabama, embracing the CLT would be more than an administrative choice. It would be a declaration of faith in education's highest purpose, cultivating informed, virtuous citizens capable of sustaining our democratic experiment. Education today feels untethered, adrift in a culture of fleeting conviction and diminishing coherence. The CLT cuts through the noise, a quiet assertion of continuity in an age bent on forgetting. It doesn't just chart a course, it restores a purpose, grounding learning in something lasting, something resistant to the whims of trend or convenience. For Alabama, writes Alan Mendenhall, the choice is stark. Persist with a system crumbling under its contradictions, or step back into the more rigorous and rewarding work that education should remain. And again, so the basic idea is all state universities should accept the classical learning test. I think that's, again, not a panacea, not a silver bullet. Something that should be done like in February very quickly.
What is the likelihood that it actually happens?
Not very.
North of 20%?
Yeah, maybe they'll surprise us.
Higher ed will surprise us and play ball with it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think Florida has the right idea here. I think Alan Mendenhall is really on to something. And I think the great part of my private Catholic education is that it did emphasize the ethical and moral struggles of life. And it, to their credit, wasn't just Catholic doctrine. It was just general questions about what does it mean to be a Christian. Introduced us to all sorts of great literature. At some of my favorite classes there at Catholic were those sort of breakdowns, whether you're talking classical, British literature or the Odyssey and Iliad, or you're talking, more recent things. Like in my junior year at Catholic, I was reading Blood Meridian in a special Western literature course. So being able to be introduced to things that are engaging in the sense that there are great stories, but they also question, what does it mean to be a person? Especially, what does it mean to be in this civilization? How do you choose your life? Like, it's not about, let me just check off these boxes. It really is about challenging you. Now, will there be kids that are like, I don't care?
Right.
Of course. And part of me is like, emphasize the classical learning tradition, and then also emphasize like the skilled tradition. Like, if I know for a fact there are going to be just people and kids in particular, like, I don't want to read all that fruity crap. I want to work with my hands, or I want to work outside, and I'll start offering that earlier at younger ages. I think the best stuff is when kids have to apply knowledge, not just take it in or barely even pay attention to it and then spit it out. It's when, here's a task before you, kid, that you said you were interested in. Are you? Yeah, I'm kind of interested in that. Now, okay, so here's what you need to learn in order to accomplish this goal.
Dude, I have friends with kids across various ages, 7th grade down to, pre-K.
Mm-hmm.
Watching children try to solve problems today it'd make you want to hit your head against the wall. Like, critical thinking and logic at some point needs to be incorporated back into school programming. We're just missing it. And watching the younger people try to figure out how to do a problem that they're not familiar with, there is no best practices approach or how just figuring out a way to get it done. It is very quickly, I don't know how to do this, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't challenge kids, or we don't give them the environment they need to just be able to think.
Right.
And to your point, I think ask important questions that we've been asking for ages.
Yeah, no, and any good parent is doing that on their own, and hopefully that's the whole point of going to church, these sorts of things. But it would be nice if our public institutions, if they are to exist at all, actually emphasize more the great traditions of our civilization because it's rich and there's a lot there. It's not any particular ideology. That's the beauty of the Western canon. It's not some political axe to grind necessarily. So we'll see. There's a lot of things that could be done in the state, but hey, we got to hit a break first. Again, this part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. And if you go to their Facebook page, you can see what I'm seeing right now. This canary yellow diamond. Dillon Rings can get or can make any gem or piece of jewelry you want. But if you mention the Facebook post, or better yet, tell them Joey sent you, you can get this rare beauty, this canary yellow diamond for 50% off. That offer will expire January 20th. So get it before somebody else gets it. There's only one at this price, but you got to tell them if you want this canary yellow diamond that Joey sent you, and do it before January the 20th. And only about 1 in 10,000 carats of mined diamonds is a natural colored diamond. Yellow diamonds make up about 60% of those colored diamonds. So about 1 in 16,500 carats mined is a yellow diamond. That's how rare this is. So again, if you want 50% off on that great item, tell them Joey sent you. And of course, they have an amazing selection that meets any budget there. Custom design work second to none, repair work, spa treatments. They do it all full. They're a full service jewelry shop there at Dillon Rings. So stop by today, 119 Brown Springs Road, right here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. I tend to remember it's right where the old Fun Zone used to be. Yeah. I have fond memories of working there. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Independent Glass has been your one-stop shop for all things glass since 1978. They offer a full range of architectural products, and they're armed with the knowledge and expertise to get even the most demanding job done, big or small. Attention to detail, 24-hour replacement services, and their uncompromising commitment to excellence is why Montgomery's first choice for all things glass is Independent Glass. Call them today at 263-2823 and learn more about what they can do for you at independentglassco.com.
Hey, this is Lyle from Margaret's Exquisite Jewelry, and I do my radio advertising on Blue Water. I'll tell you what, I use most of the stations, and I've been using it for so long. It's hard to tell with the money you spend on advertising if it does any good. When they come in and say, I heard you on the radio, I know it's Blue Water, and I love Blue Water.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Final moments of the program here, and that means it's time to talk to Ray Bowles from Brattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Heading back to Montgomery. I got Dez in the truck with me. He's my back room manager. I was trying to get him to do the ad. You want to say anything to the world? Everybody's listening.
Everybody come to Brattville Carpet and get y'all some good flooring, and you'll see me when I deliver it to you.
And he wants you to buy floors from Brattville Carpet so he can keep his wonderful job.
No, y'all do great work. And what, y'all still do that like free in-home measurement?
We do. We'll come out free of charge. We'll get you measured up. Once you get a quote up, Des is going to bring out all the floors a little bit early. If they're the vinyl plank, hardwood, laminates, we like them to acclimate in the house. If it's carpet, they'll come out on the job site the day of and bring the carpet to put in.
Beautiful.
And it's just all kinds of things you don't think about when it comes to flooring. It's a lot. And we try to make it very little for you and a lot on us. And so all the worries are gone. You get a great floor, a lifetime installation warranty. If you ever have an issue, you just call us. We come running. Just that simple.
And that number's still 285-8117?
It is. And we'll come out today or tomorrow. Even though it's going to be nasty tomorrow, we'll still come out and give you that free measurement if you're home tomorrow.
And folks, when you call 285-8117, be sure to tell them you heard Ray on the radio with that Joey fella.
Guys, have a great day.
Appreciate it. So what did we learn today, Byron?
Man, whole lot. Smelt pretty much contributed to the fires over in LA.
Yeah, stupid little fish. Offer a fish.
We're getting ready to go take back the Panama Canal.
Mm-hmm.
Good for
And
that.
you're not a believer, but Greenland is coming into the fold. And one way or the other, it's coming into the fold.
Partnership, yes, but they're keeping their autonomy. They know what they're sitting on. You think they're just going to turn all that over?
We can let them believe what they want. I hear you.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not moving over there and living in an Eskimo.
I think de facto Greenland
Or an
comes into
igloo.
the fold. However, whatever scheme you want to come up with. Oh, Coach Tuberville kind of making it official that he hasn't made a decision, but he's thinking about it. When it comes to running for governor in 2026, he what was the quote? Never say never to anything. It's a good
something like that.
Sounds like an SEC coach to me.
The VA stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to figure out who's in charge and who's doing what.
And what sort of legislation is actually going to overhaul this thing? Because all the board members haven't heard much about
We
the
don't
details.
know. Nothing's pre-filed. We got to wait on the governor's office to tell us what we need to put in our bills.
And State Rep Ed Oliver and State Senator Andrew Jones, like they're working on it and working with the governor's staff, but we've yet to see anything filed.
I wonder if they're working with vets on it or if they're just working with the governor's.
I don't know. They said it's a step up, though, what they're thinking about.
Have they given any comment or anything? Have you spoken with either of the two?
No, I have not talked to either elected representative.
Wonder what they'd say now.
Oh, we also learned that while all this problem is going on in California, the Biden administration approves $500 million in a security package to Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
So happy days are here again. Pamela's here early. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Good.
You ready for happy hour with Greg?
Yes.
Should be
Always
a great
ready.
show. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad that you're a regular here now. I think it's a good addition.
Fun, right?
I miss Rosie, but this is a good addition.
Classing up the place.
Oh, I don't know about that.
So I'm pretty much I'm done. Tomorrow, I'll be here, but for now,
We'll have
I'm
fun.
done.
We'll have fun, man.
You'll have fun?
Yeah.
You're going to be here tomorrow?
I'm pretty certain.
All right, it's going to be a packed house. I like that.
Well, I told Scott to come in if he got the call up.
Okay.
Who
No,
else
we
will-
got 4 mics. Craig Monger will be here too.
Craig and them.
Yeah, and Eddie will be here, I think. I don't think he'll be real estate. And though, here, let's check on what he's thinking about.
I'll believe that when I see it.
What is Eddie thinking about? We have this device that can read his mind.
Always be
Oh,
closing.
You're right.
Always be closing.
Need the Beach Boys song to the Aruba, Jamaica.
Ooh, I wanna take a... Anyway, on that awful note, we're not starting an a cappella band anytime soon. Happy Hour with Greg Budell. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott.